Good morning/afternoon, everyone. This is Robert. RJL Network presents a special presentation of Inside Pitch. The 1969 demo game is on the air. Hello, everybody. This is Robert once again here at RJL Network, and we are now featuring the Inside Pitch demo game for the year of 1969, which is the next upcoming replay on the network, chosen by you as the voters, and of course, by the dice that decided which season to be used. In the season review and reveal show coming off the 1972 season, which was a lot of fun. And I think 1969 is going to be just great. This is a demo game. This video actually goes ahead and serves two purposes. One, the demo game is the official start of the next season replay. So the 1969 replay officially starts with the demo game. The season begins next Monday night, on July 1st, which will be opening day of the season I'll be playing, and we'll get to that a little bit later. So the demo game officially begins the replay for the upcoming season, and it is the 1969 season. The second thing this demo game does is this is a slow and steady game of inside pitch. I am not teaching you the game. I am showing you the game in a slow motion format so you guys can understand how the mechanics work. This is designed here to, instead of teaching you step 1, step 2, step 3, you can just see the game played that I normally do, through the regular season. Because when I do regular season games, I play the game very quickly. I can get through a game within an hour, depending, of course, how much happens during the game. So this is kind of like a demonstration of inside pitch for veterans who, of course, want to get a refresher, or for the new people who haven't decided yet if this game is for them. There is a bit of a learning curve for the game, but I have created some helpers to help you deal with the learning curve of base running and such, and other things. I will be taking questions throughout the demo game. I have no problem fielding questions. But the questions I will take will only be on the mechanics. I will not discuss ratings. There are certain ratings. If you have any questions on why a player is rated so high or rated so low, or why he does this and why he does that, that's a question you should give to Chris Davis, who created the game. And you can go to the Delphi forums, and ask him any question you have on Inside Pitch, and he'll be more than happy to tell you why he did it that way. So there's not going to be any questions on why certain players have certain ratings against that, why the lefty-righty splits doesn't occur. And I don't want to have any questions on why a player was rated a 2 when he should be rated a 4 or anything like that. That's not what this is designed to do. This is designed to teach you the mechanics of the game. So, of course, I'll be taking questions and such, as the game progresses. This is probably going to be usually a demo game video, goes about a couple of hours, depending how it goes. This is an exhibition game, so some of the baseball rules are going to be relaxed a little bit. So, the rosters we're going to be using are only the rosters that only came with the game. So certain traded players, such as the Mets' Don Clendenin, he was with the Expos early in the season. He is not on this team, and as well so the other teams. So we're only using the rosters from the teams as they come. Of course, when I go through a regular season, traded players, of course, will wind up on their teams later. So it is good to have everybody. So yes, the 1969 season around the corner. Welcome Jeremy Brooks, Phoenix Knight, Ben Witts, Tracy Meehan, Luke Capine, Brian Patterson, Doug Hunt here at Shea Stadium. The reason why we're doing the Orioles and the Mets, the demo game always features the historical World Series teams from the upcoming season. And of course, the Orioles and the Mets played in 1969. And of course, the Mets won. And since the Mets won that World Series, they get the home field in the demo game, which of course is at Shea Stadium. Now, a lot of people have been asking me about the fast action cards. Some people have been wondering about the fast action cards that Chris Davis created. I will not be using these in the demo game. This was created by Chris as an option for people to learn how to play the game in a different type of way, a little bit easier. I need to make a tutorial on these. I will. I will not be using these in the demo game because the game actually really doesn't really use these. He just created these to help people out. But what I will do is I will show you how I create the helper card, okay, to make base running a lot easier. And of course, we will go piece by piece through the game slowly so you can see how the game operates. So it is good to see everybody here today, okay, for this demo game. Yes, the 1969 season's around the corner, and it should be a lot of fun. First thing we got to do, of course, is to create the helper card. Now, the helper card that I create here is specifically designed to help with the outfield assists and such for base running. You don't have to have one, but I like using it because it makes it a little faster for me to go ahead and on base hits to the outfield. So I will show you first how we create the top of the card the hard way, and then I'll tell you how I do it the easy way for the visitors. So the first thing we're going to do is create the top. So we'll do the bolt. We're going to do the New York Mets. We're going to do the New York Mets first. The New York Mets in left field are going to have Cleon Jones. He will be in left field. As you can see here on the card, at the top of the card, you have his range, his error rating, and his arm. His arm in left field is a +1. So you take the +1 arm, then you go to the chart. Now, Inside Pitch only uses 2 charts. That's it. A little bit of calculations, but that's it. So, and now we check S7, and a hit to left field from first to third, a -2, okay, is subtracted from the base running rating here. So you got a -2 here on a ball hit to left field to get from first to third. So you have a -2, but Cleon Jones adds a +1. So in that case, it's actually only a plus. So if it's -2 and you add 1, it's only a -1 to get there. So what we do here is on first to third on the helper card, I'll go ahead, and this is a dry erase, and we're going to go ahead and put -1. So I know anytime on an S7 to left field, the base running rating on the player, on the base runner, will have his base running rating subtracted only -1. Now, what if it's a second to home? On a second to home, okay, it's a +1 second to home. But Cleon Jones, if the ball is hit to left field, he adds a +1, so it is a +2. So you can go ahead and put +2 here, second to home. And on a double, the D7 is a -1 first to home from first base. So it's a -1, but Cleon Jones is a +1, so it's going to be a 0 from first to home. And that is how you create the player card from left field. Let's do center field. The center fielder for this game is Tommy Agee for the Mets. He has a rating of 0. He has an arm rating of 0. So it's pretty simple then. So you know, if you look at hits to center field, you know all of this from S8 is going to be the same. So it's going to be -1, +2, +1 is how you create that. So we already know it is -1, +2, and +1 on the helper card. And this is where if the ball is hit to center field, and the runner's on first to third, runner second to home, and runner first to home. And then you have S9, which is a ball hit to right field. The right fielder for this game for the Mets is going to be Art Shamsky, and he has a 0 arm in right field. So again, we now go back to the chart, and you see the chart here from S9, +2, +1, and -1. So you're going to do, so you know that's not going to change. So you're going to do +2, +1, +2, +1, and -1. And I'll go ahead and put the Mets up here so I know that is the team at home. So that is how you create my helper card, okay, to make it a little bit easier for people to utilize the base running, because a lot of people get frustrated with it. And I tell people, Don't. Okay, there's many ways to make it easy for you. This is the hard way to create the base running card. There is an easy way. I'll show you how we do that for Baltimore. I created another helper chart, which I did post to it. This is this right here. Now I'm going to hold this here, okay, and for a minute, for a couple of seconds here, so that anyone might want to take a screenshot of this and make a copy of their own. This is the complete outfielder arm modification and setup for no matter what the arm rating is. Okay, this is a cheat sheet. This is my cheat sheet. So I'll show you how this works. This creates it very fast. Now we're going to do for the Orioles. The Orioles in left field. The Oriole player is going to be Don Buford. He has a +1. So we know all I got to do is go to left field +1, and there are your adjustments. -1, +2, 0. -1, +2, 0. Just like that. Okay? This chart makes it so much easier. All you got to do is look up the outfielder arm, and you got it. Center fielder for the game is going to be Paul Blair for the Orioles. He has a -2 arm. So then we go to center field -2, and it is -3, 0, and -1. And then in right field, that's going to be Frank Robinson, and he has a -1 arm out there in right field. So you then check the right fielder chart that I did here. So -1, so +1, 0, and -2. And we put Baltimore here. And that is how I create my helper card. And you guys can, and then of course I use this to tell me who's in the field with the blue top of the inning or bottom of the inning, so we know who's to use. So for those of you who like to go ahead and maybe do it that way, okay, that's one way of going ahead. So we already got the helper card out. We're actually ready to play. I do recommend that if you do score the game, I suggest in your score books you put the running rating of the base runner, the range, the error rating, and the arm rating. It's always good to have it just like this. This is how I make my score books. I don't use anything special. Okay, this is how I score my games. It gives me enough information that I need for runs and hits. I do not keep stats throughout the regular season that I play. I do keep stats through the postseason in order to choose an MVP when the postseason is over. Everything is all done by hand. It is all manual. Okay, everything is everything is done. I don't keep track. Everything, all my standings are put on paper. Nothing is electronic. The only thing that is electronic is when I post like standings at the end of the month, okay, and of course such, and and of course we know FastScore Baseball is what I use for the 10-minute ticker, so that we can see how our season progresses. It is good. So we got, who else joined us here? DB, Dwayne Martz. Good to see everybody here. So I'm glad everybody's here to join a little bit of some inside pitch. Okay. As I said, this is just a demonstration game. I'm not here to teach it. I'm just here to show you how you can play this game as easy, as simple as possible. And yeah, you can put attempt and stolen base ratings on your scorebooks. Absolutely. Either way, like I said, like Baseball Demo says, play the game you want the way you choose to play it. The game is customizable, and it can actually do almost anything you want. There are so many people that have house rules for the game. Okay, and I have a couple of house rules concerning for pinch hitting and things like that. I usually do not pinch hit for position players until the 7th inning. A lot of people have house rules. You can't break the game. All right, if some people think that, well, this rule doesn't really make much sense, and change a little bit if you don't like it. Chris Davis says, just have fun playing the game. That's all you want to do. I do have a couple extra helpers as well for some of the ambiguous things of the game, like G2 results, error on a throw, that kind of thing here. And I do use this helper sheet to help me out a little bit. These are pretty much been confirmed by Chris as what he said he would do. Okay, and I'll keep this on the screen a little bit here for anybody who might want to, screenshot that. and, you know, make their own copy or something. Those don't come into play often, but anything to help out the game. You know, as I said, okay, the game is customizable. As I said, I'm not here to discuss ratings. Okay, I don't want to hear somebody, um, you know, everybody makes video freezes. It's not me. I'm getting everything going pretty much so far. We might want to refresh your browser there, Ben. I am coming to you from South Florida, so I'm all the way at the other end of the country. But you might want to refresh your browser if that happens. But right now, I'm getting I'm getting everything here normal through my system here. I don't think anybody here, if anybody here is having any trouble, so it might just be, you might just want to refresh the browser there, Ben. But you know, so as I said, I'm not here to discuss ratings. I don't want to get into a ratings chatter. I really don't. I always tell people, if you don't think that that maybe that Gary Maddox shouldn't be a 5, it should be a 3, then fine, make him a 3. Change it on your card. You know, it's all and to me, it just makes it more, you know, it's all of the way you feel it is. Okay. Not every game engine is perfect. Every game engine has its pros and every game engine has its cons. Okay. To me, Inside Pitch has less cons than pros. And to me, it's the most exciting game you can play. Okay. At least on the tabletop. I'm not going to knock the other ones today. This is not the video for that. This is a video about Inside Pitch and a demonstration of how it plays slow but surely. So there's my 15-minute introduction. I think it's time to play a little baseball. Okay, so we're going to start here at the top of the first inning at Shea Stadium. And, of course, the starting pitcher for the New York Mets is some bum by the name of Tom Seaver. And I'm not going to do a normal introduction for the players that I usually do throughout a regular season game. So Tom Seaver, of course, some bum who will probably some bum. You know, Tom Seaver probably not meant to anything, so I don't think we have to worry about him. He should be traded to the Reds later. Yeah, right. So we'll do with Tom Seaver be the starting pitcher for the Mets in the top of the first. He said you need that helper. And you had a question on an S5 and an error on a throw. Okay. So what is your question there? And good to see baseball demos. If you have a question there, what is your question there, Dave? I'll go ahead and take it. This is a video designed to answer questions. I will answer your questions. Usually during regular season games, I really don't have time for them. Okay, as I want to get the game played. Okay, but he says you have a question on an S5 with an error on a throw. Well, an S5 on an error on a throw would be an automatic single, and the only thing you're rolling for is to see if there's a throwing error. So if it's an error, it's going to be a base hit plus an automatic extra base, if you're wondering about that. Okay, so if it's an S5 with an error on a throw, it's an automatic infield single. Okay, but you're rolling to see if the fielder made a throwing error anyway to try to get the runner out. Single to third field, but D6 was lower than the range of first base. No. On an error on a throw, okay, on an S1 to S6, okay, the range doesn't matter. And I'll show you here as I bring up the chart. As you can see here, okay, error on a, let's see here, where's that? Error on a throw, okay, and let's see here. No, let's see, error on a throw. It's got to be here. And a G on an S6, okay? So an error on a throw on an S6, okay, it becomes a 9. You go to 9 and it says infield single, okay? Infield single with 1 extra base advancement on bad throw. Otherwise, everyone only gets 1 base total. You do not roll for range. The only time you roll for range, Dave, is if it's a G6. An S6 is an automatic infield single if it's an ET question mark. A G6 is when you would roll the range, okay, on error on a throw on a G6. And I'll bring that back up to here. So G6 throwing, because a G6, okay, you go to throwing number 2 here. Throwing error with potential for advancing other base on bad throw. Infield single, it's automatically an extra base. There's no roll for range. The throw had no chance to get it there. So yes, you ruled it runner to second, but not to third since D6 was less than range. Correct. You do not roll for range on an infield, on an S6, on an ET question mark. Okay. You do not roll for range on the runner, on the receiver. Only on G6, only on Gs, not on and of course error on a grounder, error on a error on a ground, that kind of, or error, something like that. Only on a G6 you roll to see if the guy at where the base was rolled, is going. And remember, you always got to roll to find out where the ball is going to. So if you have a runner at first, okay, then it's a possible double play. You got to roll to see where the ball was thrown to, and that's why you still roll the double play check to see where the ball is going to. And of course, if it's an error on a throw, all right, you still have to see, if there is a range check where the ball was thrown. Okay, so we go to Tom Seaver, some bum here, will probably not amount to anything. He had a very good year in 1969, hence the year the way the Mets won it. So without further ado, let's play some baseball. We're going to use blue, white, and orange dice. The Mets are the home team. And let's go to the top of the first inning. And we're going to start with Don Buford. Don Buford had a pretty good year in 69, a 291 average, not bad. So what you do first is, as we're about to start, you will always start on the pitcher card, and then you go to the batter card, depending on what happens to the pitcher card. So let's see what we got here. So it's a 3-1. The blue die will be the top die. So I usually always use the white die as the side die. Okay, and I usually have the D20 as the color of that. So 3-1. So we go to Tom Seaver, and it says K with W in parentheses. This is in case the pitcher is fatigued. So if the pitcher is fatigued, the W, instead of a strikeout chance, it would be a walk chance. But he has, of course, this is the first inning. Seaver is feeling 100% fresh. So this would be a strikeout chance. Then you go to the batter card. But remember, the ballpark does take into effect. So the ballpark is going to add, Shea Stadium is going to add 3 to strikeouts, no adjustment to walks, and no adjustment to home runs. Shea Stadium only has 2 home run cells on this for 69. Only 115 home runs. Shea Stadium was pretty much a pitcher's park in 69. Shea Stadium was a pitcher's park. So you add 3 to the strikeout ratings. Now, some people ask me, why does the ballpark go ahead and modify strikeouts, walks, and home runs? Well, there is a setup out there where Chris gets information concerning the ballpark factor of how many strikeouts there were at that park, how many walks there were at that park, how many home runs were at that park. Some people say it doesn't matter. It does, and that's why he goes ahead and does it. There are ballpark factors for strikeouts, walks, and home runs. There is a difference, and that's why he utilizes the adjustments. It does matter, actually, depending on where the game was held. So we know it's a 3-1, so we know it's a strikeout chance. We then go to Don Buford card. Against the righty, Don Buford has a strikeout rating of 9, but we add 3 here, which makes it a 12. This is a 17. So Don Buford, that roll is higher than 9 plus 3 is 12. Don Buford does not strike out, so now Don Buford does get to swing. So now we re-roll again, and it's a 1-2. And we check his card here, and 1-2 is an F9, and that's just a fly out to right. So we'll go ahead and give it there, and then go ahead and mark in the card as a fly out to right. There's one away. The thing about inside pitch does not use any charts to resolve a play. The only charts it actually used well, maybe that's not true, but only 2 charts it uses to resolve a play: the bunt chart and the squeeze bunt chart. Everything else is on the cards or run by the dice. There is nothing on it. There is no chart that says grounder to first, grounder to third, what happens here, what happens there. No. On the pitcher fatigue note, can explain what the pull rate is. The pull rate, okay, this is the pitcher, this is the 30. The 30 means how many batters there are. And the 11 indicates how many runs, hits, or walks he accumulates in order for you to maybe pull the pitcher. This is optional. You do not have to use this. Okay? So if Tom Seaver gives up a combination of 11 runs or hits or walks, then you may want to consider pulling him. It is an optional rule. You do not have to use this. Some people use this to fatigue him earlier. Some people say you can use this as a method of fatiguing a pitcher without going through the batters. You could, okay? Some people have house rules for that, and it's not a bad idea. Now, what I do use is I only use the pull rating as a gauge if I think I want to pull him, but it does not, okay? But I don't usually use that. But this is an optional rule, Phoenix Knight. It just tells you what you can't, if you may consider pulling him after he gives up a combination of 11 runs, 11 runs, 11 runs, hits or walks. It's a combo. Okay, so if you have 3 walks, he's given up 4 hits and maybe 4 runs. That's 11. Okay, and then you want to consider he reaches his what they call his pull rating, and then you maybe want to consider for pulling him and bringing another pitcher. But it's optional. You don't have to use this. The option I do use, however, is if a pitcher is fatigued and a parentheses result comes up, I do automatically pull him as the pitcher is then considered fatigued. So I hope that helps you out there, Phoenix Knight. It's an optional rule. It's just a gauge to say when you should pull him out. So we have 1 out. So we go to Paul Blair, who's playing center field, had a good year. The 1969 Orioles really were the best team in baseball that year in 69, but the Mets just won the World Series. So let's see now. So let's roll again. So Tom Seaver will go again. So 1-5. So now on a 1-5, Tom Seaver comes up as a W, and that is a walk chance. So then we go to Paul Blair's walk chance against a righty. Paul Blair is an 8. No adjustment from the Shea Stadium. So an 8. That is an 18. He does not walk. So now we go to Paul Blair. A 4-1. Now here is a split chance. Now on a 4-1, you have a D/F7. Okay? A D/F7. Against a righty, this would be a fly out to left. Against a lefty, this would be a double to left. Tom Seaver was a right-handed pitcher, so this is going to be a fly out to left field, and this is one of the reasons where the splits do come into play. So that would be 2 outs. So Paul Blair flied out to left field. Good to see Philip Reynolds there. My 69 Mets didn't win the other day. Can everything. Then we'll bring up this bum, Frank Robinson, an absolute nobody. Frank Robinson had a very good year in 69, a 3.08 average. He bombed 32 homers. He was pretty darn good. So Tom Seaver will now pitch to Frank Robinson here on the top of the first inning. So now we'll go ahead and we will roll for Tom Seaver. And that is a 2-4. And a 2-4 comes up as a blank. The 2-4 comes up as a blank. This means the pitcher has pretty much thrown a normal pitch. He did not really have control much of the at-bat. So we go straight to the pitcher card. We go straight to the batter card. So we re-roll, and we come up a 4-5. And a 4-5 on his card is a double star 5. This means that this is going to be an automatic out. This is going to be an out. So that's a star line 5. So then you go back to the pitcher card, and on the pitcher card you have the double stars. And anytime a double star comes up, you go straight to, the star line. All right. And in this case, now the batter already told us it's a star 5. So we go straight to Tom Seaver and we go to the 5, and it's a G6, which is a ground out to short. So that's pretty much handled by Bud Harrelson. And he'll throw it over for the out, and that retires the side. So 1-2. So Seaver goes a 1-2-3 inning. And just like that, we go to the bottom of the first. So the game can go very, very quickly. My games, my stream games usually go at least an hour, some shorter, depending on how many innings there were or such and such. But if you're playing these games, the game can actually play very quickly. You can be done with an inside pitch game in maybe 30 to 45 minutes if you're not announcing or anything like that. So we go to the bottom of the first, and the starting pitcher for the Orioles is another nobody named Jim Palmer. He had a pretty good year as well in 69, but he's not going to amount to much anything anyway. When you got a pitching matchup between Tom Seaver and Jim Palmer and a combined ERA of about 4.5, you kind of think this is probably going to be a pitcher's duel between these two, but you never know. Inside pitch can be a little unpredictable. You really never know what you're going to get with inside pitch, and that's actually pretty good. But the players will actually play realistically to their ratings and such, according to what Chris says. Okay. Remember, every game engine is different. So Jim Palmer will now come on to pitch here in the bottom of the first inning. As you can see, I moved my helper now to the bottom. So now I'll be using these ratings, okay, for Baltimore. So let's see what the Mets do here. So the Mets are going to start with Tommy Agee. He had a good year in '69, a 271 batting average, 26 homers. Those are fine stats to me. I have nothing wrong with that. I'll take that every year. So now we're going to start with Jim Palmer's card, and let's see what happens with him. So now a lot of people say, well, I'd just like to have one dice roll decide to play. Unlike some games out there like Stratomatic or Payoff Pitch or APA, one dice roll usually does it. Sometimes you get one dice roll that does decide to hear an inside pitch. So Jim Palmer rolls a 5-6. And a 5-6 on Jim Palmer's card comes up RP. This is a range play. So that means that somebody in the defense is going to have to make a call or make a play. So now we roll off of Tommy Agee's card. Tommy Agee is a 1-1. 1-1 is a G5. That's a ground ball to third. So the third baseman has got to make a play. Now, of course, I could just look at my scorecard and I see Brooks Robinson with a 5. But I'll go ahead and bring out his card. So who's at third base? Of course, it's the human vacuum cleaner, and his range is a 5, and his error rating is a 5. Okay, and Brooks Robinson is playing at normal depth, so he gets his full range. So you re-roll the die again, any choice, okay? Okay, so a 1-5, Brooks Robinson makes the play. It's a 4, so Brooks Robinson goes over here, sucks it up, and blows it over to first, and like the player he was, and that is a ground out to third, and that's 1 out. Except some ninth inning magic. Next batter for the Mets is going to be Ken Boswell. Had a good year himself, a 279 batting average, nothing to sneeze at. So again, we go back to Jim Palmer, and let's see what he does. It's a 1-1. Now this comes up as an at sign. This means it's at the park. So we do not use Ken Boswell's card, at least for the moment. We go straight to the ballpark card, and that is Shea Stadium. So now we roll on Shea Stadium's card to see what happens. 4-2. Now a 4-2 comes up as an S+9. This is called a single plus to right field. On an S plus, this is a single, but could become a possible double. So pretty much he hit this one into the gap. This is pretty much a ball hit into the gap, all right, which could become a single or a double. It's automatically a single, so we know Ken Boswell makes it to first. Now what you do is you check the base running rating of the base runner. It's a 4, and we got to get the arm rating of the player that's in right field. The right fielder is Frank Robinson, and it's a -1. So then you're going to roll another die. So it's 4 minus 1 is 3. You do not take this any of the helper card into an action because it's only if there are runners on base when the ball was hit. Boswell right now is the only base runner. So it's a 4 minus 1 is 3. You're going to roll the die. A 1-3, Boswell's going to get a double. A 4 or 5 is going to hold. A single, he could be out. It's a 2. So Boswell actually hit into the gap. It bounced near the wall. Boswell turned on the jets a little bit, and he gets into second. So Boswell has a double for the Mets. So the Mets automatically start with a runner on second base. A Steeler fan now joins us here. So a single plus, I'll tell it again. And when you see an S plus, that means it's a single, but it could become a double, or he could hold at the base, or he could be thrown out at second base. But he did make it to the second, so we're not going to go any further than that. As I said, this is a demo game, not a teaching game. But I am here to answer any questions. So Boswell is on at second. So that will bring up the next Mets batter, Cleon Jones. Jones had a very good year in '69, one of the best hitters of that year with a 340 average, and he could hit for power as well. So Cleon Jones. Now you have a runner on base. Enter the strategy roll. Enter the strategy roll. The strategy roll is kind of like your Stratomatic Havoc roll. Okay, the Stratomatic Havoc that Baseball Demos uses to decide if there could be a wild pitch or anything like that. But the strategy roll actually kind of helps you decide if there's gonna be a steal, a possible bunt, or maybe a pickoff. Or a hit and run, anything like that. So let's see what happens with the Let's see what happens with the strategy roll. So you roll a d20, and the strategy roll for Ken Boswell. Okay, he has a chance to steal third, which is probably not going to happen. But let's roll the strategy roll and see what we got. It's a 7. Now, Ken Boswell this is a steal attempt rating as a 2. This is a steal attempt rating, but trying to steal third, that's divided by 2 and becomes a 1. That is a 7. So Ken Boswell the bench coaches would not be sending Boswell to third. You're going to go ahead and keep him at second base. As far as hit and runs, I do not do hit and runs with runners on second. And there's nothing, and of course, Cleon Jones's bunt rating is a 1. The 7, of course, is too high. As you can tell here, and I'll give it a little bit about here. So hit and run check chart, and the bunt chart, and a roll of 20 equals pickoff attempt. We'll get to that in case it does occur, okay? So we know that Boswell's going to stay on second. That's a strategy roll, so nothing happening. So now we just do a normal play. So once again, we roll off of Jim Palmer. 6-2. Now again, 6-2 now is an RP at. This is range play, but at the park. So now we got to go back to the ballpark card, but now it's going to be a range play. So we go back to Shea Stadium, and the infield is going to stay back with a runner on second. And we now do 5-6. A 5-6 on it is an F8. This means it's a fly ball to center field, but this is going to be a range play. So now someone in center field has to make the play. The center fielder for the Orioles is Paul Blair. He was pretty good. His range is a 4. Okay. There usually are no adjustments to ranges in the outfield, only to infield in case the infield's a double play depth or corners in. Some people do have, I think, a house rule for infielders in case they bring the infield in or the infield back, something like the outfield in or out, but I don't do that. So the range is a 4. So we're going to roll a 1. We're going to roll a white die. A 1 to 4, Blair's going to make that catch. He does. It's a 3. So he's going to make the catch. So great play by Paul Blair out in center field. Jones is out. Now, since there's a runner on second, it's a possibility Ken Boswell can go to third. It could have been deep enough. So now we do this. So Ken Boswell's bunt rating is a 4. And we now go to the flyouts chart here and the modification. On a fly ball to center field, the modification is a -2. So it hit the center field, it would be a -2 to Boswell's base running rating. Now, Paul Blair has a -2 arm rating. So if you take 4 -2 -2, it's going to make Ken Boswell's base running rating a 0. There is no way he can get to third. He automatically stays at second base. A house rule I use when I play regular season games is if the modification, but not including the outfielder arm, automatically makes the base running rating of the base runner a 0, I don't go any further, no matter what the arm rating is of the outfielder. So if, just for the sake of argument, if the modification was a -4, which of course it's not, but if it's a -4, his base running rating would automatically become a 0. And let's say Paul Blair had a +1 arm and would suddenly become a 1, it wouldn't matter. I would automatically keep Boswell there at second base. That's my house rule, okay, that I use when I play regular season games. But as I said, you guys can play the game the way you choose to play it. It's very customizable. So Paul Blair makes a good range play, keeping Boswell at second. And now the batter for the Mets is going to be Art Shamsky. He had a very good year himself. Lousy in the field, but pretty darn good at the plate. A 300 average and 14 bombs. Once again, we roll the strategy roll. Now, the other reason why we roll a strategy roll is Jim Palmer has a slight balk rating that he must have had a balk or two in 1969. Now, some people don't go ahead and roll a strategy roll if the balk, PO, or pickoff error rating is completely blank. I still roll a strategy roll for two reasons. A, just because it's something I should still do. And B, there's always a chance a bunt can come up. So It's a possibility if you got a runner on a base, and even though he doesn't have anything here, but you got a guy with a bunt rating of 5, it still could make a difference there, and that's for people that want to roll that. You don't have to, but I do. And we're going to use the strategy roll hard and fast, at least. So the strategy roll, by the way, for you people is okay, as it says, all right, all can be overridden based on game situation or gamer's choice. It is designed, the strategy roll really is designed to generate steal attempts, bunt attempts, hit and run attempts, pickoff attempts. That's what it's really designed to do. Okay, you do not have to follow it 100%. So are you really going to bunt with 2 outs? No, you're not going to. You probably won't. Okay, but it's designed to generate the steals, the hit and runs that maybe occurred during the regular season of that time. So I'm going to roll a strategy again, and that's a 16. What comes up? So nothing's happening. Shamsky's bunt rating is a 2. And on his bunt rating of 2, regular player 19, and he wouldn't be bunting anyway. He'd be swinging away. So nothing happens. So you go ahead and roll on Jim Palmer. It's a 3-4. Now a 3-4. We're getting some good ones here right now. A 3-4 is an E question mark. This is a possible error. So now you got to go to the batter card to see what the error could be. So we have a possible error. So you re-roll. It's a 3-4. And a 3-4 on Shamsky's card is a G4. That's a ground ball to second base. It's a possibility there could be an error. The second baseman for the Orioles in this game is Davy Johnson. And now you check his second base rating has a 3 range, a 5, and a +1, and a +1 pivot rating. His error rating is a 5. And I've already rolled the D20. The D20 is a 3. He's going to make an error at second base on this play. Some people like to roll. You don't have to roll the D20 at the same time as you do the D6s, but I do. So the D20 is a 3. That's under his error rating. If it's equal to or under, he makes an error. So we're going to have an error at second base. Now we go ahead and we check the chart. Okay, and this is going to be a G4, and it says number 1 here. Okay, and it says boots ball, grounder booted, all runners advance, 1 base only. Even if he had 2 outs, it won't matter. It's a 1 base error. So Boswell goes to third, Shamsky to first, and the Orioles have committed an error. So I write on my score sheet E6, and I put an error on the Baltimore Orioles side, so I know they made an error in the game. So now you have runners at first and third with 2 outs. So Jim Palmer, not happy that Davy Johnson made and he didn't make that many errors, but in this case he does. So now you have runners at first and third, okay, still with 2 outs, and you got to bring up another error. You switch from Firefox to Chrome, no video freezes. I use Edge for my normal. I use Microsoft Edge for my normal browsing, but when I'm streaming it, you guys, I'm using Chrome. Chrome streams better than Chrome streams better than Edge. All right, that's why you don't get much errors. But good to see you, Ben. Good to see you. So I hope you're enjoying so far what you see. So we got so the Mets get another chance, and it's going to be Ed Kranepool. Okay, Kranepool had a 238 average, 11 homers in 1969. So once again, we got to re-roll the strategy because you have runners at first and third. And it's a 5. Nothing happening here. Art Shamsky has an attempt of 1. And Jim Palmer has a 0. So a 1 is the only way Shamsky would have probably got a chance. Now, Kranepool has a strikeout rating of 5 to see if there maybe would have been a hit and run. With 2 outs, I don't hit and run. So I'm not going to show you that at the moment. Hit and runs I don't do with 2 outs. So there's no strategy. So we're going to re-roll for Jim Palmer. And it's a 1-3. And Jim Palmer is going to get out of the inning. A 1-3 on Jim Palmer's card is a double star. Jim Palmer had complete control of the at-bat, is what it really means. And he just goes straight. You just roll again and get a straight play off of his star line. So we roll. It's a 5, and you go to 5. You go to 5 here, and it says G6, and it's just a ground out. So Kranepool grounds out to short, and the inning is over. The reason why these star lines are actually pretty important, this tells you what kind of a pitcher he was. A lot of people don't notice that. Jim Palmer has 4 flyouts and 2 groundouts, which means Palmer in 1969 was more of a flyout pitcher than he was a groundout pitcher. So it's a ground out to short, so no runs and a hit and 1 error. No runs, a hit, and an error. And the inning is over, and it stays no score after 1. As Palmer gets out of the jam, so the error really does not hurt him. So now we go to the top of the second. Thank you very much there, Ben. Had to dust off the scoreboard. So now we go to the top of the second here. All right. Are there ever strikeouts in the star line? No, there are no strikeouts in the star line. Never. There are no strikeouts in the star line. Strikeouts only come straight from the pitcher matrix or from Special K strikeouts. There are no strikeouts in any star line. If he has them, I've not seen them yet, but he's never had a strikeout in a star line. So we go to the top of the second. The leadoff batter for B-Moore is going to be Boog Powell. He was a monster, 304 average and 37 bombs, and he was ripped. Boog Powell was a pretty big guy. So now we go to the top of the second. We now go back to Tom Seaver's card. So it's a 3-2, and now a 3-2. Tom Seaver comes up with a W, which means it's a walk chance. So then we go to Boog Powell's card against a righty. He walks as a 12. There's no adjustment. That is a 16, so they does not walk. So now Boog Powell gets the swing. And it's a 3-2, and Boog Powell on a 3-2 is an F8, and that's just a fly out to center. So a fly out to center for Boog Powell, and there's 1 away. You can see how well the game flows. It flows very well. Okay, once you get everything down pat, the game flows well, I think, better than any other game there is. Okay, besides games that utilize charts only, I think inside pitch flows better than any other game, and that's why it's just smooth as soon as you get it done. Here's the human vacuum cleaner, Brooks Robinson, probably the best fielding third baseman of all time, and that's hard to argue that. Speaking of Special K rules, I would explain this now with a pitcher Special K. Could you explain that at some point? Yes, I can. If I don't know if there are any Special K batters, pitchers in these rosters. I'll find out. I don't think there are. I don't think there are any. And if there aren't, I won't be able to explain it because I really need it. Let's see if there's any on the Mets here. Don't think so. But I can just tell you much around Phoenix night. A Special K, okay, is when a pitcher has an abnormal amount of strikeouts, the amount of innings he pitched, okay? And if an out reading comes off the batter card or the ballpark card, okay, but it is not, okay, and you roll a D20 and it falls under the Special K rating of the pitcher, it's a strikeout. However, you will not use that rating on range plays and error checks and things like that because obviously the ball was put into play. All right. If the ball is put into play, but there's no range play check or error check, okay, or anything like that, and there is a Special K rating off the pitcher card, it becomes a strikeout instead of what the pitcher or the ballpark card says. That's a little confusing. I sometimes don't catch myself. That's why I got to make sure there's a Special K for me to check, and that does make a difference though, considering it could be a strikeout instead of a double play. Sometimes a Special K helps you, and sometimes a Special K doesn't. It could turn a double play into a strikeout. That can make a difference there. So here's the human vacuum cleaner. He was not a power hitter. I'm sorry, he was a power hitter. 23 home runs, not bad. So we go up for Tom Seaver's card. It's a 6-2. A 6-2 here is a K, and that is a strikeout chance. We go to Brooks Robinson. He didn't strike out much in 69 against the righties, a 5, but +3 at Shea Stadium makes him an 8. That's a 12. He won't strike out. So now Brooks Robinson gets the swing. So the vacuum cleaner swings. It's a 6-6. And a 6-6 on Brooks Robinson's card is an F8. And that's a fly out to center. No need to check any charts or anything like that. The information for the ballpark resolution for the play resolution is on the batter or the pitcher card. And that's it. There are no charts to check. For calculations maybe, but that's it. And it's very simple. So now there are 2 outs, and Seaver now will pitch to a future World Series champion manager with the Mets, Davey Johnson. And of course, we know he made the final out in the World Series in '69. So Tom Seaver, the terrific one, gets the pitch. And 6-3. And now we have an HBP. This is a hit by pitch possibility. So it's possible Seaver threw maybe one a little bit inside, and it could be a hit batter. You then go to the batter card and check. David Johnson's hit by pitch rating is a 4. He probably didn't get plunked much. However, then you got to check the pitcher's H by P rating, okay, and see if you add or subtract. Tom Seaver is a +1, so he probably hit a couple, all right, in 1969. So he has a +1. So that means that Davey Johnson's hit by pitch rating becomes a 5. You check the D20, and I get a 4 here. This is a 4. So actually, Tom Seaver plunked him. So Tom Seaver hit Davey Johnson on a hit by pitch, and he goes to first. So he plunks Davey Johnson. So you got a runner on first base for the Orioles. And that allows to bring up the shortstop, Mark Belanger. He had a good year, 287 average and a couple of bombs, respectable. So now Davey Johnson's on first after Tom Seaver plunked him, all right. And now the infield's going to stay back because there's 2 outs. I'm still rolling a strategy roll because Tom Seaver has a balk rating, and he picked off a few at 2-4. And Belanger's, of course, his bunt rating's a 2. So I'll still roll a strategy roll to see if anything happens. And that is a 16. His bunt rating is a 2. The bunt chart on a regular says 19, so he's not bunting. He wouldn't be bunting anyway in the situation, so he will swing. So Tom Seaver will go ahead and pitch. That's a 2-6. A 2-6 comes up here. We're getting a lot of good ones this demo game. An E question mark. So again, a possible error. So now we got to roll off of Mark Belanger's card. And that is a 5-6. And a 5-6 comes up a double star 3. So now we go to Tom Seaver's card. And the 3 on his star line is a G4. So this is a possible error to second base. The second baseman for the Mets, okay, is Ken Boswell. Ken Boswell had a kind of a new errors. His error rating though is 11. So we check it, and this is a 6. And Ken Boswell's going to make an error at second base. So once again, we go back to the chart on second base at number 1. And again, grounder booted, all runners advance 1 base. Or you don't have to be always grounded booted. He could probably go ahead and maybe pick up the ball, drop it. But Ken Boswell is going to make an error as well. So now runners are going to move up 1 base, even with 2 outs. So that's an E4. So the Mets make an error here in the top of the second. So both teams now have an error. Remember, back in the day, fielding was important, but not like it is today. There were always a lot of errors made back in the early days of baseball, and even though it's really in the early days, this is the '60s. But usually fielding wasn't, I guess, really as practiced on as well as it is now, where errors are really frowned upon in today's baseball. Okay, but back in the day, that's why I mean Brooks Robinson really comes up big, okay, because he was just amazing at the position. So now you got runners at first and second, so the Orioles get another chance. And here comes the catcher, Ellie Hendricks. He had a 244 average and 12 bombs in '69. There's still runners at first and second, and we're still going to go ahead and roll a strategy anyway. Unless you're Dela Cruz and he seems to get a pass. True. 17, nothing happening. So now Seaver's going to go ahead and pitch to Hendricks. That's a 2-6. And once again, the error comes up. So 2-6 again. Error with a question mark. Now we got to see where Hendricks hits it to. It's a 6-4. Now this is an S8. Okay, this is a single into center field. This is a single to center field. So Hendricks is going to get a single to center field. Okay, but we got to see if there's an error. The center fielder for the Mets is Tommy Agee. Agee's error rating is a 4. That is an 18. That is an 18 on the D20. He does not make an error, but there is going to be normal runner advancement. Now you get to see the runner advancement done, okay? I'm going to do it the hard way and the easy way. So it's a single to center. You're checking to see if Dave Johnson scores from second base. His base running rating is a 3. Now the easy way, Single to center. If you check my helper card, you're adding plus two to center field. So Davy Johnson would score on a 5. Now the hard way, of course, I'll show you again. Some people do it with if you don't use the helper card. Okay, Davy Johnson's base running rating is a 3. Center fielder Tommy Agee has a 0 as an arm rating, and now we'll bring up the chart, and you can see second to home, single to center is a +2. So now you have a 5. So now you roll a dice. You roll one die to see what happens. On a 1 to 5, Davy Johnson's going to score. Okay. On a 6, there's a possible out. It's a 1. Now a 1 means there could be a possibility that the batter could take second. That the batter can take second base. Now you only roll this dice once. Okay, for all the other runners on base, and and that's for you there, Dave. Remember, you only roll the die once. So Davy Johnson is going to score. Mark Belanger's base running rating becomes a now. Of course, I forgot to add 2 outs. If there's 2 outs, his base running rating actually, you know what? There were 2 outs. So actually, his base running rating is a 4 plus 2 is a 6. There is no roll for him. Okay, he automatically comes in to score. So really, what I'm rolling for is Mark Belanger. His base running rating is a 5 with 2 outs. Okay, you know what? That's right. 2 outs, no roll. Okay, so I forgot it was 2 outs. So base running rating, it becomes a 5 with 2 outs. So we already know he scores. So the roll may be going to third. So I got to do this again. So his base running rating is a 5, but to get first to third, it's a -1. So a 1 to 4, Belanger actually gets the third. He does. So Belanger actually gets the third. The run automatically scores. Hendricks stays at first. It's 1-0 Orioles. I am very sorry. I forgot it was 2 outs. So it's runners at first and third on a base hit. The Orioles take a 1-0 lead, okay, here off a single. So that error really came back to bite the Mets in the butt. So the run scores, runner goes to first to third, and it's a single, a base hit to single for that. Okay? So my bad, I forgot there were 2 outs on the board. Sometimes these demo games can be a little bit bouncy, because I'll be honest with you, I have not played any inside pitch since the final game of the World Series in '72. Not played any at all. That's another reason why I use this demo game. The demo game gets me back into inside pitch mode. And then we'll bring up the pitcher. Yes, this is 1969. The pitchers are batting. And Jim Palmer is coming up to hit. He wasn't bad. A 203 batting average out of 64 at bats. Not bad for Jim Palmer. So now runners at first and third with 2 outs. We'll again re-roll the strat. And that is a 5. We are your Q&A. Yep. That is a 5. Nothing happening Belanger. He stays at third. Hendricks is not going anywhere. And so it's just going to be a normal way. And Palmer is not going to be bunting with 2 outs. So Seaver will pitch. It's a 4-4. A 4-4 on Seaver's card is a K, which is a strikeout possibility. Against the righty, Palmer's a 31. Plus 3 makes him a 34. The highest he really can go is 20. That's a 6, and he struck him out. The inning is over. That's going to be the first strikeout for Seaver. So 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error, and 1 hit batter. And the Orioles are taking a 1-0 lead after 1.5. So now we go to the bottom of the first inning. Actually, with a K rating like that, right? So now we go to the bottom of the second. The Orioles have a 1-0 lead. And the leading off for the Mets is their shortstop, Bud Harrelson. May he rest in peace. He had a 248 average that year. So let's see if the Mets can get this one back. So it's 1-0 going in the bottom of the second. We roll off the pitcher card. It's a 2-5. A 2-5 off of Palmer is a W. That is a walk chance. Okay. And we check Bud Harrelson. Bud Harrelson against the righty is a 13. That's a 0 off of Shea Stadium. That's a 19. Palmer won't walk him, so Harrelson gets a chance to swing. And that is a 5-5. And a 5-5 off Harrelson's card is a star line 2. So we go right back to Palmer's card. And a star line 2 is an F8, and he just flies out to center. The next batter for the Mets is going to be the catcher, Jerry Grody. Does anybody have an issue if I say that Jerry Grody was one of the more underrated catchers in baseball history? He could play ball, and probably the third, maybe what the probably what the second best, maybe the second or third best catcher in Mets history, right behind Mike Piazza. Jerry Grody was an underrated catcher. So Palmer will go ahead and pitch to Grody. And that's a 5-5. So again, a 5-5. Now here's a split chance on Palmer's card. On a 5-5 against the lefty, it's a blank. But against the righty, it's a strikeout plus 10. Gary Carter, number 2. But on a strikeout plus 10, when you get a K plus, this means it's a strikeout, but you add 10 to the strikeout chance. So now Jerry Grody is a righty. And against a right-handed pitcher, he's a 9. But you add 10 to this, and that becomes a 19. You still add the ballpark rating, which is plus 3, which is going to make it a 22. No matter what happens here on a 22 isn't going to be an automatic strikeout. The strikeout rating is an 18. Now, the D20 is an 18. If it wasn't a strikeout plus 10, okay, Grody doesn't strike out. He gets to swing. But because Palmer had complete control of the at-bat, he strikes him out. And that'll be the first strikeout for Palmer, and that is out number 2. Good to see Jimmy Jam and Scooney. That'll now bring up the third baseman, Wayne Garrett. And he was kind of meh. A 218 average, a home run, and 39 RBIs in 69. So Jim Palmer will now be pitching to Garrett. So we roll off Palmer's card. It's a 1-4. A 1-4 off of Palmer's card is a W, which is a walk chance. Against the righty, Garrett is a 9. No adjustment of the ballpark. That is a 15. It's too high, so Garrett will go ahead. No, not Mackey Sasser. Although I actually did like Mackey Sasser. Mackey Sasser actually did a fine job in the 86 season. He did his job. A 4-1 off of Garrett's card, and a 4-1 is a G4, and that's just going to be a ground out to second base. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Palmer. So 2 innings in the books, and the Mets are down 1-0 after 2. We go to the top of the third. Mets back out in the field. You'll be comfortable in Grody ahead of Todd Hundley. Yeah, you should. Grody, I have Grody ahead of Todd Hundley. Yes. Top of the batting order for the O's. It'll be Don Buford leading off. He flew out his first time up. So let's see what happens here. Any questions so far as we're continuing going? Any questions so far? So Tom Seaver will roll. It's a 6-5. A 6-5 on Tom Seaver's card is a K. That's a strikeout chance. Against a righty, Don Buford has a 9, but you add 3 to make it a 12. That's an 18. Wow, Seaver not getting any strikeouts today. So Buford will get this. So now you roll again off the batter card. It's a 5-4. And a 5-4 off of Don Buford's card is a G6. And that's a ground out to short. And 1 out. Paul Blair is up next again. Blair is 0 for 1 with a fly out, flew out his last time up. So Seaver, a 3-6. A 3-6 now. A 3-6 is a split chance. Against the lefty, this is an automatic out. But against the righty, this is a straight home run result. Now, there's a difference between a home run and home run question mark. A home run without the question mark means the pitcher put it right into the wheelhouse of the opposing batter. A home run with a question mark means he possibly did, but then you go here to check. Against the righty, it's a straight home run result. He put it right over the plate. Tom against the righty. Blair is a right-handed batter, so he does go ahead and get a home run chance. Seaver is a right-handed pitcher. Against the righty, Paul Blair needs a 17. There was no adjustment of the ballpark card. That is a 19. He does not get it. That is a 19. He does not hit the home run. So he did not make the home run. So Blair does get the swing. It's a 3-6, and a 3-6 is an L5, and that's a line drive right to third. It's a line out to third. And that is the second out. Wow. Seaver put it right over the plate, but Blair just didn't get all of it and hit a liner right to Wayne Garrett to make the catch, 2 outs. How come sometimes when you get an SF roll, it says the SF roll but you can have the runner score. A sacrifice, the sacrifice fly. If that comes up, I'll answer it. But remember, a sacrifice fly, okay, off of the batter. If a sacrifice fly comes up here, the runner automatically from third scores, okay. But if he doesn't, okay, then you still roll to see if the runner still tries to take off. So that'll bring up Frank Robinson, of course, one of the greatest of all time. So Seaver will go ahead and pitch. And we roll for him. It's a 1-2. A 1-2 off a Seaver's card is a blank. So we go straight to the batter card. The batter card is a 3-6. And Frank Robinson at a 3-6 is an F8. And that's just a fly out to center. And Seaver has a much better inning in the top of the third. Nothing across. And we go to the bottom of the third inning. You can see how well this game flows. I think this flows better than any other game. There really are no charts to really check except for maybe the errors when you're first learning the game. Okay, yeah, you're going to check the rules and stuff like that. But once you get this game down pat, it flows better to me than any other game on the market. So we go to the bottom of the third. So Palmer back up in there. And leading off for the Mets will be the pitcher, Tom Seaver. Kind of weak, a 121 average and 69 as a hitter. But Palmer does get the pitch to him. So we start with the pitcher card. And that's a 3-3. A 3-3 is a K, which is a strikeout chance. Against the righty, Seaver is a 20. Plus 3 makes him a 23. Doesn't matter what the D20 rating, he struck him out. And that is the second strikeout for Jim Palmer. And there is 1 out. Rare plays too, but that's the name they are supposed to be rare, as they are, yes. The rare play system, unfortunately, in inside pitch is a little bit weak. I think he could make some more rare plays. There are some people out there that go ahead and utilize other rare play systems. I know Baseball Demo sometimes uses the replay rare play system for it. Some people use the season ticket baseball rare play. It's okay, you know. His rare plays are really more designed to see if any injuries occur. Oh, by the way, for those of you how I do injuries, I'm not going to do injuries in this game at all, unless I'll do a game day injury if it comes up. Okay, in the regular season, injuries are game day only. When I do postseason, injuries are full time. So the next batter is going to be AG. So he'll come up to bat here. So we roll off of Jim Palmer's card. It's a 3-3. So a 3-3 again. Strikeout chance is a K. Against the righty, AG is an 11. Plus 3 makes him a 14. That is an 18. Palmer doesn't strike him out, so AG gets to swing. And that's a 3-3. And a 3-3 off of AG's card is a double star 4. The star line 4, you go to Palmer's card, and that is a 4. It's a G4, so AG grounds out to second. And there are 2 outs. And then we'll go to Ken Boswell. He made the error at second base, which unfortunately allowed the Orioles to get an extra batter out for the Orioles to have a 1-0 lead. Boswell, he got a double, though, his first time up. So Palmer will get to pitch. A 1-1. So Jim Palmer is because the at sign, that means this is at the park. So now we go to the Shea Stadium card, and we roll on the Shea Stadium card. It's a 1-2. And a 1-2 off the Shea Stadium card is a G3, and Boswell grounds that to first base. That'll get picked up by Boog Powell. He'll take it to the bag himself. And that is a 1-2-3 inning for Palmer. It stays 1-0 after 3. Top of the fourth. 1969, we're going to go see in 1969 season, we get to see the last year of a couple of parks out there. We'll get to visit RFK Stadium for the Washington Senators, Old Crosley Field for the Reds, Old Connie Mack Stadium for the Phillies, also known as, before that was known as Scheid Park, and of course, Old Forbes Field for the Pirates. and we get to visit Six Stadium for the Seattle Pilots. We get to see some old classic ballparks. So Seaver back on the mound. And right now, neither one of these pitchers are tired. Seaver can pitch to 30 batters. Palmer can pitch to 30 batters before fatigue. And right now, Seaver's only pitched to 12 batters, and Palmer's pitched to 11. So let's see. So leading off for the Orioles is going to be Powell. Powell flew out to center his first time up. So Seaver is a 4-3. A 4-3 off of his card is a K. Strikeout chance against the righty. Powell is a 9. +3 makes him a 12. And again, the D20 is not going the way of the pitchers for strikeouts. That's a 15. Powell does not strike out. So he will swing. That's a 5-6. And against now 5-6 is a split chance. Against the lefty, it's a fly ball to center field. Against the righty, it's a double to center field. Seaver is a righty. That's a D8, and that's going to be a double to center. So Powell goes ahead and leads off for the Orioles with a double to center, and he will go to second base. That brings up the vacuum cleaner, Brooks Robinson, and now we roll the strategy roll. Infield's going to be back, so we roll the strat to see if Powell's going to do anything, and that's a 12. Powell's not going to do anything with an attempt rating of hit. Robinson has a bunt rating of 2. The 12 doesn't get in there, so it will be a normal at bat. So Seaver gets the swing, pitch. Seaver a 1-2. And that is a blank. We will go to Robinson's card. And that is a 6-2. Now a 6-2 is a question mark 9. This is what I call a power hit to where this ball was hit. So then you go ahead and you check this section of the batter card. This is a power hit to right field. Against a righty, this is what could happen for Brooks Robinson. A 1-8 would be a single. A 9 is a double. A 10-12 is a triple. I've already rolled the D20. I've not looked at it. That is a 12. And that, again, a 12 against the righty is a 12. That's a triple. Brooks Robinson hits a triple to right field. Powell automatically scores. And the Orioles are now up to nothing. I'm beginning to wonder how the Mets beat this team in the World Series. So Boog Powell leads off with a double. Brooks Robinson goes to third on a triple, an RBI triple. If the roll was higher than 12, it is a flyout. I should have mentioned that. So if this was a 13, if this was a 13 or higher, this would have been a flyout. Okay, a flyout to right field. And then you got to roll to see if maybe Powell still takes third on the flyout. But that is a triple. So now the infield's going to play in. The batter will be Davey Johnson. He'll come up to bat. He was hit by a pitch his first time up. We do roll a strategy roll anyway, and that is an 18. Now, Dave Johnson's bunt attempt is a 1, and on a 1 on the chart, you see a no, so he's not going to bunt, okay? Nothing on the hit and run, of course, and there's no steal. So nothing happening here. So the infield is in. Now, when the infield is in, range checks for the infielders are subtracted by 2, okay? But when the infield is in, you get a possible play at the plate. There's no chance of a double play. Now, you can also have corners in, so you bring in the first and the third, and you can keep second and short at double play depth if you wish, okay? Which is something I've not been doing, which I may start this try a year, see what happens. So I could still have a double play if the runner is second to short to see if you can turn it. It can happen. So still nobody out. Top of the 4th, 2-0 Orioles. Nothing's going to happen on a strategy roll, so we'll go ahead and roll. So Seaver's a 1-4. Now this is a double parentheses S1. If Seaver was tired, this is an automatic base hit up the middle, okay? And every runner from second or third is going to score here. But he is not tired. So because he's not tired, you treat this as a blank. So Johnson does get to swing. And that is a 5-3. And a 5-3 is a double star line 2. So we go to Seaver's check. And on a double star line 2, this is a fly ball to center. So this is going to be a fly out to center field, 1 out, but you got a runner on third. So the runner on third So the batter is out, but now you check to see if it's an automatic sacrifice fly. Scooney was asking about this. Now he's going to see it in action. Davey Johnson's sacrifice fly rating is a 3. So you're going to re-roll a D6 again to see if Brooks Robinson automatically scores. With the -2 modification, the range of the infield in apply to first and third with the corners in. Yes, it would. Yes, it would, of course. To that, if the corners are in, yes, it would. Okay, absolutely. But now we're going to roll to see a 1-3. Robinson's going to score. He does. So so David Johnson automatically apparently must have had a good amount of sacrifice flies. So that brings in the run, and it is 3-0 Orioles. So that was a fly out to center field. But I call that an SF8, which is a sacrifice fly. 1 out, but it's now 3-0 Orioles as Tom Seaver having a bit of a rough game. The next batter will be Mark Belanger, and he reached on an error his first time up. But now there is 1 out, so it's 3-0 Orioles here. So Seaver will go ahead and pitch. It's a 5-4. 5-4 is a split chance. Against the lefty, it's a blank. Against the righty, it's a strikeout plus 10. Belanger is a righty. That's an 8. It becomes an 18. Plus 3 is 21. Automatically out. And that will be the second strikeout for Seaver. And that's 2 outs. Next up is Hendricks. Hendricks got a base hit his first time up. Seaver will go ahead and pitch. And that's a 5-3. Now, a 5-3 is a WLD. A WLD means a possible wild pitch. You only, take this account if there's any runners on base. If you do not, it's just ball 1 and you re-roll. You do not go to the batter card. You re-roll because the possibility you can have another wild pitch in a way. There are some games where if a wild pitch occurs, it may not occur again. So you re-roll because there's nobody on base, so it's ball 1. Some people, if you do roll 4 wild pitches in a row, I go ahead and say it's a walk. Some people don't do that, but I would I think I rolled 4 wild pitches in a row and I made it an automatic walk. So we re-roll again off the bat of the pitcher card. So it's a 4-5. A 4-5 off of Tom Seaver is an RP. This is a range play, so now somebody in the defense has got to make a play. So Ellie Hendricks, we roll off his card. A 3-2. A 3-2 now is an S9. This is a single to right field, but because this is a range play, the right fielder gets a chance to see if he can turn this into an out. The right fielder for the Mets in this game, unfortunately for them, is Art Shamsky, and his range is a 1. So the only way he can get this is to channel his inner Greg Luzinski to turn this into an out. So he needs a 1 in order for it to be an out. Nope, that's just going to be a single, and that'll be a base hit. So Ellie Hendricks, pretty much at the 2, he took it on the hop. So Ellie Hendricks gets a base hit. It's his second hit of the game. On a failed range play. Yes, if you're wondering why we're saying his inner Greg, Phoenix Knight is asking the chat why I said his inner Greg Luzinski. If you really want to find out why, check out game 4 of my 1976 National League Division Series between the Philadelphia Phillies and the New York Mets. And you will find out why we call his inner Greg Luzinski. If Phoenix Knight really wants to know, watch Game 4 of my NLDS and my 1976 replay between the Phillies and the Mets. You will find out why, we say he has his inner Greg Luzinski. Everybody I've been doing this for quite a while now. We have a lot of heroes and villains on our JL network. It'll bring up the pitcher, Jim Palmer. He'll bat. Palmer struck out his first time up. Now, Hendricks on first, his attempt rating is an H. When this comes up, that means the only way you can attempt to steal is on a hit and run. Since there are 2 outs, I wouldn't do a hit and run, but I will still roll anyway. And it's a 20. Now, a 20 comes up. This means that Tom Seaver has a chance, for a balk or a pickoff. So we roll the D20 again. A 1, it's a balk, and Hendricks goes to second base. A 2 to 4, Seaver picked him off. It's an 8. Nothing happens. He threw to first. Hendricks got back. So now Seaver will now pitch to the batter. Yes, the biggest hero in RJL Network is Bill Swift. If you're wondering why Bill Swift is the hero in RJL Network, you can ask Steeler Fan, who happens to be Bill Swift's favorite player, favorite fan. So if anybody wants to know why Bill Swift is Steeler Fan's favorite player, you can check with him, and he will tell you all about Bill Swift. Those of you who really want to know, check out my 1994 National League wildcard playoff between the San Francisco Giants and the Houston Astros. That was done with payoff pitch, and you'll find out why Bill Swift is the biggest hero. Seaver will pitch now, and that is a 4-5, and a 4-5 again, coming up as a range play. So now someone in defense has got to make a play. So Jim Palmer gets the swing. Palmer is a 4-2. Now, a 4-2 is a star line 4. So we go back to Tom Seaver, and that is a ground ball. That's a G5, and that is a ground ball to third. The third baseman for the Mets in this game is Wayne Garrett. And unfortunately, Wayne Garrett's range is a 1. He stinks. So it's a range play. The infield is back normal, so we have to roll a D6 again. A 1 is the only way he makes this play. He doesn't. Now, on a ground ball past third, it's a possibility it could be a single or a double. You roll a D20 again, a D6 again. A 1 to 4, it's a single on a ground ball to first or third, and it's a range play, a failed range check. You have to roll to see if it's a single or a double. Okay? A 1 to 4 is a single into the outfield. A double was probably hit down the line. That's a 5. That's a double. But it's only an automatic 2-base double. So Hendricks would get to third, and Jim Palmer actually hits a double down past Wayne Garrett, and now we got runners at second and third with 2 outs. DH? We don't need no stinking DH. So a double by Jim Palmer past Wayne Garrett, and now the reason why it's only a 2-base double, I'll show it to you here. An S3 or an S5 becomes a D3 or a D5. But here you check D3, D5, runners advance 2 bases only, which means it was a double down the line, but they got to it quick enough where the runners could only advance 2 bases. You do not check this chart, runner advancement on a failed range play from D for a first or third. You go only check here. Roll 1d6, and runners advance only 2 bases only. So Ellie Hendricks does not score, but now you got runners at second and third, and a chance for Buford coming up. Thanks for doing this. You'll have to catch up with us later. I'm sure I'll have more questions. No problem. No problem there, Phoenix Knight. So now runners at second and third. Don Buford is the batter. 2 outs here, top of the 4th. Orioles lead 3-0. Seaver will continue to pitch. And he's got to get himself out of a jam. You could intentionally walk, but I don't think you do that with Paul Blair coming up. So we re-roll the strategy roll again, and that is a 7, nothing happening. So now we go to Seaver's card. Seaver's a 1-4. Once again, Seaver on a parentheses S1. This is a blank. He is not tired, so that becomes a blank. So Buford does get to swing. It's a 4-5. And a 4-5 on Buford's card is a star line 2. So Seaver's going to get out of it. We go to him. It's an F2 is an F8. It's a fly out to center, and the inning will end. But 2 runs, 4 hits, and a sacrifice fly. And the Orioles now have a 3-0 lead here going in the bottom of the 4th inning. Now, for those of you wondering why we're only in the 4th inning, and of course, 4th inning, and you're wondering, wow, it takes this long to play the game. No. For those of you who are wondering why it's taking kind of long, because remember, I'm trying to explain this. These demo games usually run about 2 hours, at least, okay? My normal regular season games, about an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes if you add the 10-minute ticker. We still got a long way to go. So we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Orioles lead 3-0. Palmer back on the mound. Mets aren't able to get anything going. And here's Cleon Jones. Jones flew out his first time up. So we go to Palmer's card. That's a 1-5. A 1-5 on Palmer's card is an RP. So now it's a range play for the Orioles to make. Cleon Jones will go ahead and swing. Go to the batter card. It's a 3-2. A 3-2 for Cleon Jones is an S6, but this is a range play. So this could be coming out. So it's a ground ball to short. The shortstop for the Orioles is Mark Belanger. His range is a 3. The infield is normally back, so he gets his full range. So you roll again. A 1-3, it's an out. Nope, it's a 6. So that's going to be a base hit for Cleon Jones. I call that a seeing eye single, which means nobody would have gotten to that. Nobody would have gotten to that. So Cleon Jones gets a single, and he is on first. Now the batter is Shamsky. Jones has an attempt rating of 3. We are going to roll for a strategy roll. Now we automatically bring the infield to double play. I usually will always have that happen on a runner on first. I will always bring the infield to double play unless I decide to say negative. So it's usually infield to double play. Double play ranges, okay, on the fielders are subtracted by 1. But on a double play chance, it increases a chance of a double play because they're automatically at double play depth. And if it happens, we'll show you. Here's Shamsky. He reached on an error his first time up. Cleon Jones, though, has a pretty good head. 16 stolen bases in 69. But we still roll a strategy roll. That's a 19. Now, a 19, Shamsky's bunt rating is a 2. Now, on a 2, if you use the strategy roll hard and fast, okay, a 19 comes up, and this is a bunt chance. So they would have Shamsky, if you were using the strategy roll hard and fast, Shamsky would be called upon to bunt. Now, with a 300 average and a chance to hit home runs like this, I really don't think you would have Shamsky bunt here. But since this is a demo game, we're going to use a hard and fast in this case so I can show you how the bunt works. So yes, because I really don't care who wins this game, okay, even though you guys know me as a Mets fan, but I don't care. I'm going to show you how the bunt works, even though if this was a regular season game, I would not have Shamsky bunting here. He would be swinging away. But because the 19 shows up and the bunt rating is a 19 on regular with only 0 and 1 out and a runner on first, I will have him bunt. We then go to the bunt chart, which is used here on the other side. Bunts are a little differently when you read the pitcher's card on bunts attempt. Hit by pitch and wild pitches are reduced normally, but possible strikeouts and walks are cut in half and you round down. Range plays you still check. Errors you still check with the bunt, but you check for the error. All other results to proceed to bunt. Okay, including a ballpark card. If the fielder is playing in, the bunt rating is going to be a -1. Figuring that they would not be expecting Shamsky to bunt, they're going to keep a double play depth. So there's not going to be any change to Shamsky's bunt rating. So what I do, now first thing I got to do is still got to roll over the pitcher and see what happens. It's a 4-1. Now 4-1, a wild pitch could still occur. Okay, as you check here, okay, hit by pitch and wild resolve normally. Palmer's wild pitch rating is a 1-9, a 10-12. Since there is a runner on, the wild pitch rating comes into effect. That's an 8. That's going to be a wild pitch by Palmer, and Jones is going to move to second base. So a wild pitch allows Cleon Jones to go to second. When you have a change in the base runnings on the field, you should re-roll the strategy roll again. So in this case, Jones moved to second. So now the bunt, I'm going to call the bunt off, but I re-roll the strategy roll since there is a change since there is a change of base running. So we'll re-roll the strat. Now the infield's going to go back because now a double play is really not possible. It's a 4. Cleon Jones's attempt rating is a 3. Jim Palmer, he doesn't add anything or subtract from that. Okay, but in a chance to get to third, to try to steal third, you would divide that by 2. So a 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. That is a 4. It's higher than that. I do not do hit and runs with runners on second, so there will not be a hit and run opportunity here. So it's going to be a normal play. So nothing's going to happen on strategy. So now Palmer does get the pitch normally. It's a 5-1. A 5-1 for Palmer is a K. That is a strikeout possibility. Against the righties, Shamsky is a 5. Plus 3 is an 8. That's a 15. Too high, so it's not a strikeout. Shamsky gets the swing. A 2-2. A 2-2 on Shamsky's card is a star line 3. Go to Palmer, and that's a 3, and that is an F9. That's a fly out to right. Fly ball to right field. Now, Jones has got good speed. So his base running rating is a 5. A fly out to right is a -1 modification, so it becomes a 4. The right fielder is Frank Robinson. His arm rating a -1, so it's a 3. So I roll again. A 1 to 3, Jones takes third. A 4 to 5, he holds. A 6, there could be a possible out. It's a 3, and he will move to third base. Remember, it has to be equal to or lower his base running rating or to move up. So it was deep enough by Shamsky, so Jones is able to move to third base, and Shamsky is out. That'll bring up Cranepool. And the Orioles with a 3-0 lead, they could play the infield in. In this case, I'm going to keep the infield back and allow the runner on third to score if it's a ground out. I don't think they play the infield in. I think with a 3-0 lead, I really doubt it. So they're going to play the infield back. And that means on if the infield is back and there's a runner on third, a ground ball, the runner on third automatically scores, but the runner would be out at first. But there is one out. So we'll go ahead with a runner on third. We do roll to see if there's a strategy. And that is a 3. Jones is a 3, but in order to try to steal home, you subtract 10 from that. So there's no I'm sorry. You take the 3 and you divide it by 5. The only way Jones would have to get that would have to be a 15. So it's not going to happen. So he's going to stay there. So now we go to Palmer's card. 2-1. 2-1 is a double question mark. A 2-1 is a double question mark. This is what I call a pitcher result. A pitcher result, double question mark, you go to this section of the card. Against the left-handed batter, a 1 to 13 is an automatic out. Against the righty, a 1 to 5 is an automatic out. This shows Palmer's ability, his control against certain positions on the plate. Cranepool is a lefty. So against the lefty, a 1 to 13 would be an automatic out. That's a 17. It won't happen. It's treated as a blank, so you go straight to the batter card. Cranepool is a 2-6, and a 2-6 is a split chance. Against the lefty, it's a ground out to second base. Against the righty, it's a single past second base. Palmer is a right-handed pitcher. That's going to be a base hit past second. Jones will score. Cranepool gets to first, and it's going to be and it's now 3-1. Stadium cheers. Yay! So an RBI single by Ed Cranepool gets the Mets on the board, and it's now 3-1. So Cranepool comes well against Palmer. Infield now goes to double play depth, and the next batter is going to be Bud Harrelson. Harrelson flew out his first time up. 3-1. The Mets are now on the board. So Cranepool let's see if anything happens on strategy. That is a 20. Now Jim Palmer has a balk rating of 1. So a 20 is rolled. So this can be a balk. If you re-roll the D20 again. If it's a 1, Palmer's going to balk Cranepool over to second base. Nope. So nothing happens there. So now you go ahead and run the play normally. Palmer, a 6-5. Now a 6-5 is another split chance. Against the lefty, this is a blank. Against the righty, it's an automatic out. Harrelson is a switch hitter. Palmer is a righty. So that means Bud Harrelson is hitting from the left side. This becomes a blank because he's hitting from the left side. So that is not an automatic out. Harrelson gets the swing. It's a 2-5. A 2-5 on his card is an F9, and it's a fly out to right, and there's 2 outs. Cranepool holds at first base. Now the batter is Grody. There really isn't any rules for a runner taking second base on a flyout. Of course, that's very rare. I do have a house rule that the only way a runner on first can take second on a fly out, if it's a ballpark home run chance, I'm working on a rule so that a runner on first can take the second base on a fly out deep. And I think the only way that can really happen would be a fly out to right on a home run chance. I'm working on a house rule for that. But that's not happening here in this game because it's not rules as written. Here's Grody. Grody struck out his first time up. We do roll a strategy roll again. And that's a 13. Nothing happening with Cranepool. He's staying put. Infield is back. So now Palmer gets the pitch. It's a 3-3. 3-3 here on his card is a K, and that's a strikeout. Against a righty, Grody is a 9. Plus 3 is a 12. That's a 4. That is already under Grody's 9 rating. If it was 10 to 12, I would say that's a called strike 3. But he swings and misses, and he strikes out. That is the third K for Palmer, and the inning is over. 1 run, 2 hits, and a wild pitch. But the Mets are on the board. It's 3-1. Ballparks do have strikeout factors and walk factors and home run factors. So some people think the ballpark doesn't matter. It actually does. We go to the top of the 5th, 3-1. Seaver back on the mound. He's still got plenty of tank in the gas. Plenty of gas in the tank. That shows you guys I'm getting old here. Paul Blair will lead off. He's 0 for 2. Plenty of tank in the gas. Did I really say that? Okay. Dang, that's this is supposed to be a professional operation. I apologize, guys. All right, so here's Seaver. He's going to go ahead and pitch, and we'll go off the ball. We'll start off his card first. That's a 5-6. A 5-6, of course, off of his card is a blank. So we go straight to the batter card. Blair gets the swing, a 5-3, and a 5-3 is an F8, and that's going to be a fly out to center. And 1 out. Here comes Frank Robinson, one of the greatest of all time. And, of course, Tom Seaver and Jim Palmer are, of course, one of the greatest of all time. You roll separately, elect the suspense. That's okay. Go right ahead. You go right ahead and do it. To me, rolling a D20 speeds up the game. So if I was to go ahead, so Seaver got the pitch. So what I'll do is I'll just roll the D6s first. 1-5. A 1-5 is a walk chance against the righty. Robinson's a 15. No adjustment from the ballpark. I'll roll the D20. That's a 15. He just barely misses. That's a 15. So Robinson will walk. Barely misses. And it's a base on balls. Tom Seaver, he only had 73 walks in 69. That's his first walk in this game. Infield will go to double play, and that will bring up Boog Powell. And he is 1 for 2. He hit a double his last time up. So Shea Stadium, we roll the strategy roll, and that's a 4. So a 4. So Frank Robinson he had 9 stolen bases. His attempt rating is a 1. -1 is a 0. So there's really no chance for him to steal. Now, does Boog Powell come up with a chance of a hit and run? That is a 9, is a strikeout rating. I'll show you the hit and run chart. You do not, when you check for a hit and run, you do not take the ballpark card into effect. Only the base runner is a 9. The hit and run chart means you add 2 to the attempt rating for a chance of a hit and run. So it's 1 -1 is 0 plus 2. That would be a 2. The roll is a 4, so a hit and run is not called here, so it's going to be a normal swing. Remember, you can call a hit and run if you like. You know, the strategy roll is designed to generate steals, hit and runs, bunts, and pickoffs. It's really what it's really designed to do. You do not have to accept it. It's the bench coach telling you, hey, we got a possible chance here. Seaver will pitch. It's a 6-1. A 6-1 on Seaver's card is a split chance. Against the lefty, it's an automatic out. Against the righty, it's a walk chance. Powell is a lefty, so that's going to be an automatic out. We re-roll the D6 again, and that is a 1. And again, on a 1, it's a fly out to left. So Boog Powell hits a deep fly ball to left field, and that's out number 2. And no, Frank Robinson's not trying to take second base. So 2 outs. And now the batter is the vacuum cleaner, Brooks Robinson. And he got a triple his last time up. He's 1 for 2. So Robinson to get on first. We roll the strat. That's a 17, nothing happening. Brooks Robinson's bunt rating is a 2, but you wouldn't bunt with 2 outs. So nothing happening, so Seaver gets the pitch. So Seaver a 4-2. That is a K. It's a strikeout, normal strikeout chance against a righty. Robinson is a 5, plus 3 is an 8. That's a 2. He got him. Swing and a miss, struck him out, and the inning is over. That is the 3rd strikeout for the franchise. So nothing across except a walk, and we go to the bottom of the 5th inning with a 3-1 lead by the Orioles. So Palmer gets back up on the mound. I'm glad you guys are joining us here. Again, this is the 1969 inside pitch demo game utilizing the Baltimore Orioles and the New York Mets. The start of the 69 season is Monday, July 1st. We will have the Dodgers and the Reds for that matchup. And that means I start playing every night at around, for those of you who are wondering, I start rolling every night at about 7:30. And I play every night with a few days off in between the months and such. And I'll be honest, there are some nights I really can't go. I just might not be able to play because I do roll every night. It takes about 4 months for me to roll a season, including the playoffs. And the reason why the playoffs take so long, remember, I do expanded playoffs. So there's more playoff teams that are in there. For those of you who really want to see how it works, check out some of my other seasons, and you'll see exactly how I do my playoff positioning, how many playoff teams I use, depending on how many divisions there are. If there's just American League or National League from 1956 to 1968. Of course, 1969 was the first year that divisions were used, and of course, it wasn't until 1994 when they went to the 3-division alignment. So we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Leading off for the Mets is going to be Wayne Garrett. Wayne Garrett is 0 for 1. So Palmer will continue to pitch. And that is a 6-3. A 6-3 on Palmer's card is a K. A strikeout chance. Against a righty, Garrett is a 10. Plus 3 makes him a 13. That is a 2. That is an easy strikeout for Palmer, and that is his 4th. Now here comes Seaver. Seaver struck out his first time up. So again, Palmer will pitch. 2-2 against Palmer is again a K. That's a strikeout chance against a righty. Seaver's a 20. Plus 3 is a 23. That's a 15, and he gets Seaver. So that is the 5th strikeout for Palmer. And now here's AG. AG is 0 for 2. 2 outs. Palmer will go ahead and pitch. So we go off his card first. A 1-3. A 1-3 comes up as a star line. This is an automatic out, which pretty much tells you that the pitcher had complete control of the at-bat. You should go straight to here. You roll a D6. It's a 3, and that's a 3 is an F9. He had complete control of the at-bat, and AG just flies out to right, and that is a 1-2-3 inning. So a very good inning for Jim Palmer. One of the greatest of all time, of course. And after 5, it's still 3-1 Orioles. So we go to the top of the 6th. In case this goes extra innings, I will be utilizing the Ghost Runner. This is an exhibition. This is an exhibition game, so I will be using Ghost Runners if we go to extra innings. I know you guys hate that. So do I, but I'm going to use it if it goes into Ghost Runners for extra innings. As far as the Ghost Runner rule goes for regular season play, I know they didn't use it in 1969. Okay? I know they didn't use it back then, of course. In regular season games, I do utilize a Ghost Runner if a starting pitcher has to come in to pitch. I usually go ahead and I usually choose the starting pitcher and 3 other starters, okay, in case, I go through all the relief pitchers. The starting pitcher has to come in to pitch, and the game is not decided, the next full inning, Ghost Runners take effect. Hey, guys, I work the next day. You know what I mean? I know you guys hate that. I hate the Ghost Runner rule like poison, but it does seem to work for me in this case. And I do use the 3 batter rule for relief pitchers, even though they didn't use it back then. Remember, play the game you want the way you choose to play it. Top of the 6th, let's see, leading off for the Orioles is going to be Davey Johnson. And he got hit by a pitch and he sacrificed fly his last time up. Seaver still got, he can still pitch to 7 more batters before he tires. Palmer still got plenty left in the tank as well. Let's keep Seaver out there. Seaver will pitch. It's a 3-1. A 3-1 here is a K with a W in parentheses. If Seaver was tired, this becomes a walk chance, and I would automatically remove him from the game because that's a rule I use. Okay, but in this case, he's not tired yet, so that becomes a strikeout chance. Against the righty, Johnson is a 5. Plus 3 makes him an 8. That's a 14. He does not strike out. Inside pitch does not, rules is written, inside pitch does not devastate tired pitchers. There are games out there that completely devastate a pitcher as soon as he's tired. The inside pitch fatigue system, a lot of people say may be a little too mild. That's fine. I don't think a pitcher would be completely exhausted as soon as he's tired. Okay? Inside pitch probably does not devastate pitchers as much as any other game out there. There are some games out there that totally devastate a pitcher as soon as he's tired. Inside pitch is not one of those games. So now Davey Johnson gets the swing. It's a 4-4. And on a 4-4, that's an F8. And that's going to be a fly out to center. And there's 1 out. Next up is Belanger. Belanger is the next batter. He is 0 for 2, but he reached on an error. For those of you wondering how I score games, this is how my score sheet looks. Now, some people have innings 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't do that. And for those of you out there that kind of run out of space on your scorecards, and you know who you are, this I feel is the best way to do it. Here's your first inning. Then after that, here's your second inning, third inning, fourth inning, fifth inning. I think this is the cleanest way to do it. I know a lot of you guys run out of run out of, run out of room if you go to extra innings or such. I can safely say you really don't have to do it. Don't have to worry about that when you do it this way. Pretty much. Unless, of course, you got 20 innings or something. And the longest game I've had was 17. So here's Belanger. He'll go ahead and bat next. So Seaver gets the bat. Or best pitch. 6-3. Once again, Seaver, an HBP. 6-3 is a hit by pitch. So we go to Belanger. His hit by pitch rating is a 2, but you add Seaver's +1 as a 3. That is a 1. He hit him. Wow. Seaver not happy. He hit him on a 1. So he hits his second batter. A rule of thumb I use is that if a pitcher hits 3 batters, he's automatically if 3 hit by pitchers occur on the fourth, the third, and later on, the pitcher's automatically ejected. Yeah, in this demo game, I probably won't use that. And then, of course, there's the dreaded 66 brawl in rare play. Okay, we all know about how that works. So Belanger gets hit by a pitch. He goes to first, and that'll bring up Hendricks. Hendricks is 2 for 2 today. He's got 2 singles. We now roll the strategy roll. Strategy rolls are not into effect until the difference between the higher score and the lower score is higher than 10 compared to the innings. So 3 minus 1 is 2, okay? And that is still lower than 6. So the strategy roll you should still use. That is a 16. Nothing happening here. Hendricks does his bunt rating as a 1, so it's not so. And we go to the bunt chart, and you say nothing here, so no bunt occurs. So Seaver will pitch. That's a 2-2. Against the 2-2, it's an RP at sign. This is a range play at the park. We then go to Shea Stadium to see what happens. It's a 3-4. And we're going to get the rare play. So here is a 3-4. And a 3-4 comes up as a blank. All blanks on the ballpark card are rare plays. So anything that the pitcher card said, okay, range play or error, that's automatically removed. You now go to the rare play chart. The rare play chart, unfortunately, might be maybe the weakest caveat in inside pitch because he does not have many rare plays. But okay, fine. So rare plays, now you got men on. So you do rare plays, men on. If play does not apply, reroll on chart. My rule is if a play does not apply, I re-roll the at-bat. I start again on the pitcher card. That makes the rare play a little bit more rare. But now I go ahead and I re-roll, and we see what we got here. Okay, and you still choose something that's the 6 or the 3. So we roll. I still roll all 3 dice. It's a 3-3. It's a 33. 33 says with less than 2 out, shallow fly to right field. Resolve play as an F9 range play. So the first thing I do here is I'm going to go, and this does apply because it's less than 2 out. So resolve play as an F9 range play. So it's a range play first to fly out to right. And of course, that is going to be Art Shamsky, and his range is a 1. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to roll to see if he makes the play. So the only way he makes this is on a 1. He does. That's a 1. We don't have to go any further then. Because if right fielder does not catch the ball, the lead runner gets a late break attempting. But he did catch the ball. So this time, Art Shamsky channels his inner Greg Luzinski, and he makes the catch, and that's 2 outs, and you don't go any further on that. So a great play by Art Shamsky out there turns that into an out. So there are now 2 outs. Infield will move back, and now the batter is Palmer. Palmer will bat. So Palmer got a double his last time up. He's 1 for 2. So once again, we will roll. So now you see how the range plays work, or I should say how the rare plays work. Any blank off the ballpark card is an automatic range, is a rare play, which cancels out whatever the pitcher card says. And that's a 19. And Palmer actually has a bunt rating of 2. Okay, on a 19 for pitchers, all right, he would get a bunt chance, but only on 0 to 1 out. There are 2 outs. He's not bunting, he's swinging. So Seaver will get the pitch, and that's a 4-6. A 4-6 is a K. That's a strikeout. Against the righty, Palmer's a 31, plus 3 is a 34. That's a 6. You automatically know if it's above 20. You automatically know if it's 21 or if it's 20 or higher, it's a strikeout, and he will get out of it. That is Seaver's 4th strikeout. And that will end the inning. Nothing across except the hit batter. And we go to the bottom of the 6th. Hope you guys are enjoying this. As I said, these demo games do take some time. But as I said, remember, this is the actual beginning of the 1969 replay, which will begin on July 1st with the Dodgers and the Reds. So we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Here's Palmer back on the mound. And leading off for the Mets will be Ken Boswell. And he's 1 for 2. He's got a double in the game. So we'll go to the pitcher card. It's a 3-4. 3-4, again, it's an E question mark. An E question mark is a possible error. So then we roll off of Boswell's card. Boswell is a 1-1. Now this is a 1-1, and that is an S7. That is a base hit to left field. Now we got to see if the fielder makes a play, makes an error. The left fielder is Don Buford. His error rating is a 4. That's a 5. He does not make an error. He bobbled it, but he managed to hold on to it, and it will not be an error. So Ken Boswell, though, does get a leadoff single. That'll bring in double play depth. And the next batter will be Cleon Jones. Jones got a base hit his last time up. He is 1 for 2, and he did score a run. So Boswell is on first. He had 7 stolen bases. And now we roll the strategy to see what will happen. And that's a 2. Now we have a steal attempt. You have a 2 and a 0 here. That is a 2. That is a 2. That is a possible. You have a choice if you want to steal or not. We're going to do it so I can show it to you. Ken Boswell had 7 stolen bases. They're going to send Boswell to second base. His stolen base rating is a 14. Palmer, however, against stolen bases is a -2. He didn't hold very well, but he got a lot of he didn't get many stolen bases on him. So you take the stolen base rating with Jim Palmer's rating and the catcher arm. Ellie Hendricks, his arm rating is a -1 against steals. So it's 14, -2 is 12, -1 is an 11. We're going to roll it. Like I said, I don't care who wins this game. So now normally, if this was a regular season game, he would not be stealing. With Cleon Jones and a batting average of 340, Jones is swinging away. So on 1 to 11, Boswell is safe. On a 1 or a 2, it's a possible error on the catcher. But on a roll on a 20, no matter how good the runner is, he is automatically out. It's an 8. Boswell steals it. Took a chance, but Ken Boswell gets a stolen base. First stolen base of the game for Ken Boswell. So that goes ahead and takes away the double play chance. So now we go back to the infield back, and now Jones will bat. But again, you roll the strategy roll. If there's any change in the base on the bases, you should re-roll the strategy. That's an 18. Now Cleon Jones's bunt rating is a 1. Okay, but on an 18, he would not be bunting here. So now he's going to go ahead and swing away. So a chance for the Mets. So Palmer does get the pitch. It's a 6-1. A 6-1 is a K. That's a strikeout chance. Against the righty, Jones is a 6. Plus 3 is a 9. That's a 20. Too high. Jones gets the swing. 2-1. And against the 2-1, and that's an S9. That is a base hit to right field. That is a single to right. Now we check to see if Boswell scores. Boswell's base running rating is a 4. He's at second base. And a single to right here I have as a 0 because the right fielder is Frank Robinson, and he has a -1. Okay, now I'll show you the actual chart. It's a single to right field, and a single to right field is a +1 automatically to the runner on second base. But because Frank Robinson is a -1, that makes it a 0. So Ken Boswell will score on a 1 to a 4. A 1 to 4, he will score. A 5, he holds at third. A 6, it's a possible out. It's a 6. We got a possible out. That means Boswell is on at third. Jones automatically goes to first. Now, how do we do this? This is where some people get a little bit confused. When a 6 comes up, you're going to make another die roll. And this is where you check the arm rating here on this chart. Frank Robinson, as I said, is a -1. You now check the arm rating. On a -1, okay, you're now going to roll again to see if there's going to be a play. A 1 to 4, there's going to be a play because a -1 here, okay, he's making a throw. On a 5 to 6, Ken Boswell sees the throw come in, and he puts on the brakes and he holds. Okay, now that is how you figure that out. So a 1 to 4, there's going to be a play. There's going to be a play. So you roll this. It's a 1. So Boswell is coming home. Cleon Jones, however, with that 1, is going to probably take second on the throw. Now you go to the third die roll. Again, this is where it kind of gets confusing for people. But now you go to this chart. It's very simple. So there is going to be a play. On a 1, the lead runner advances, the ball is caught off, and Cleon Jones is out going to second, but the run scores. On a 2 to 5, Boswell is out. But depending on what the roll is, and since Cleon Jones is a very fast roll, on a 2, 3, 4, or 5, Boswell will be out at the plate. Jones is going to take second base. On a 6, the lead runner advances, and the ball is caught off, and the trailing runner is caught in a rundown. I want to state for the record, if there was nobody else on base, even if a roll is a 1, or if it still comes up, lead runner advances, and the trailing runner is thrown out, the lead runner still advances. There was no way to get him out. So with pretty much a 2 to a 5, Boswell is out at the plate. It's a 4, he is. So Frank Robinson threw Boswell out at home. That is a 4. Cleon Jones' base running rating is a 5. He takes second on the throw, but there is 1 out as the Mets cannot get the run. What a play by Frank Robinson. One of the reasons why he's one of the greatest of all time. I'm going to give Cleon Jones a double on that since he took second base, but the runner is thrown out at the plate. That's one of the more amazing things of Inside Pitch. You get that kind of suspense. You kind of get that excitement on a possible throw out. Now, for those of you that, as I said, that might be a little confusing. As I said, there's a demo game. Just go ahead and replay that section, and you'll see how that works. Okay, that is how you figure out if there's a throw out, an assist at the plate, or a play, or first, or third, or home. So now there's one out. Cleon Jones hits a double, but Boswell's thrown out. The batter now is Shamsky. Shamsky is 0 for 2, but he did reach on an error. Infield is back as Frank Robinson throws Boswell at the plate. Stadium kind of groans. Ugh. And Section 518 takes another swig of beer. So Cleon Jones on at second. We will re-roll the strategy. And that's a 5, and Jones is going to stay where he is. His attempt rating is a 3, okay? But the 5 is going to be too high for a chance to go to try to steal third. So Palmer will pitch. That's a 5-2. 5-2, a wild pitch. We check against the wild pitch rating. A 1-9 is a wild pitch. 10-12 is a possible pass ball. That's a 7, and Jim Palmer uncorks a wild one, and Jones goes to third. Second wild pitch of the game for Jim Palmer. As he goes ahead and uncorks a wild pitch, and now Cleon Jones is at third base. So now the infield's going to come in because he got a big run at third base. So now we will re-roll the strategy again, and that's a 17. Nothing happening. Art Shamsky's bunt rating is a 2. Okay, and there's not going to be, and his bunt rating is a 2, is a 17, and it doesn't come up as a bunt. That would be a squeeze play attempt, but he's not going to do that. So we're going to go ahead and roll. Remember, with the infield in, range plays are -2 to the range. Jim Palmer will pitch. It's a 5-3. A 5-3 is a W+. This is a W+. This is a walk +10. Which means he did not have any control really much in this at bat. But does he walk Shamsky? Shamsky against the righty is an 11. No adjustment from the ballpark. But you add 10, it's a 21. And that is a 20. If it wasn't for that, that would not be an automatic walk. But he does walk Shamsky. So that is a walk by Jim Palmer. And that's his first walk of the game. So now runners at the corners, they're going to play double play depth. The Orioles try to turn the 2 to get out of the inning. And the batter will be Cranepool. Cranepool is 1 for 2. He's got a base hit. So now they're going to try to turn the double play to get out of the inning. So we re-roll the strat. That's a 2. Shamsky is a 1. That's a 0. Nothing happening there. Now Cranepool has a strikeout rating against righties of a 5. And now you add +3 to the hit and run. So that would be +3, and that is a 2. He actually comes up as a hit and run. With runners at first and third, I usually don't hit and run, so I'm going to call that off. As I said, you can go ahead and call that off. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to swing the bat. So Palmer will swing. 6-3. 6-3 is a K, strikeout chance against a righty. Cranepool is a 5, +3 is an 8. That's an 18. It's too high. So Cranepool gets a chance to hit. It's 2-1. And against the 2-1, it's a ground ball to second base. This is a possible double play chance. Now you get to see the double play in action. It's a ground ball to second. You first check the batter's double play rating. His double play rating is a 2 in this case. So his double play rating is a 2. You then check the pitcher's double play rating. It's a 0. So that is a 2. You then check now Cranepool hit it to second. So the relay is the shortstop. So we got to check the shortstop's pivot rating. Mark Belanger's arm, his pivot rating is a +1. So now the double play chance is a 3. The Orioles are in double play depth, so you add 1 to that. So it's a 4. So in this case, it would be 2, 2, 3. Pivot rating for shortstop, Belanger +1 is a 4. Now you roll a D6. A 1-4, the Orioles get out of it. It's a double play. A 5, it's going to be a fielder's choice. A 6 means that the ball wasn't hit hard enough. The only play was to first base, and everybody advances. It's a 3. It's a double play. A 4-6-3 double play. Kranepool grounds out into the twin killing. Palmer gets out of it. Inning over. No runs, 2 hits, a stolen base, a wild pitch, a walk, and a huge put out at the plate by Frank Robinson, and the Mets get nothing. 3-1 after 6. We go to the top of the 7th. Now I'm going to start speeding up the game a little bit. Exactly, Ben Witz. Exactly. You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Awesome movie. So now I'm going to go ahead and speed up the game a little bit, so now you can see how quickly my regular season replays go. I'll show you now just how fast this game can play. All right. The slow and steady is now going to stop a little bit, but if something comes up, I'll show it to you. But I'm going to show you now how quickly this game can flow. It's the top of the order for the Orioles. There's Don Buford. He is 0 for 3. Seaver will pitch. 2-1. That's a range play. Don Buford. A 2-5. That's a F8. It's a fly ball to center field. Center fielder is Tommy Agee. His range is a 5. That's a 6. He's not going to get it. Now, if a failed range play in the outfield occurs, you have to roll the D6 to see if it's a single or a double. A 1-4, it's a single. A 5-6 is a double. It's a 1. It's a base hit. So Don Buford gets a single off a range play that apparently Tommy Agee couldn't get. So it's a base hit. See how quick that is? Now we go to Paul Blair. Infield, a double play depth. Seaver can pitch to 2 more batters before he tires. We roll the strategy roll to see if anything's happening. That's a 7. 4 minus 1 is 3. Blair is an 8. So you're adding only 3 to that would make him a 6. The 7 is too high for a hit and run, so we roll. So it's a normal play. Seaver 1-2 blank. Blair 5-3 F8 fly out to center, 1 out. I know, Ben Witz, you're the newbie. As you can see how quickly this game can flow now. We now go to Frank Robinson. Robinson is 0 for 2 with a walk. Still rolling a strategy. That's a 5. And Buford again, nothing happening. But now the hit and run comes up. Let's do it. 4 minus 1 is 3. Robinson is a 7. So we add +3, which make that, let's see, what do I do here? 4 minus 1 is 3. And he has a 7. So we're adding 3 to the hit and run chance, makes him a 6. That's a 5. The hit and run actually comes up. I'll show you how we do a hit and run. A hit and run, all double play ratings get a -2. All base running ratings get a +2. All home runs and walk rates for the batter are cut in half. Lineouts are all double plays. And if the batter strikes out, you resolve the play like a steal, but -2 to the base running rating of the runner. With Frank Robinson up the bat, you would probably not hit and run here because of his home run power. But I want to show the hit and run in action. So Seaver gets to roll. It's a 1-1. Now we have a possible EG question mark. An error on a grounder, possibly. Now we roll for Frank Robinson to see what he does. It's a 4-5. A 4-5 is a double star line 5. We go to Tom Seaver's card, and that's a G6. And it is an error on a grounder. That is a ground ball. It's a ground ball to short. The shortstop for the Mets is Bud Harrelson. His error rating is an 8. That's a 17. He does not make an error. So there's not an error on a grounder, but now with a hit and run, this is how this goes. It's still a possible double play chance, but harder to get. Robinson's double play rating is a 3. Seaver +1 is a 4. The double play adding makes that a 5. And the pivot rating for Harrelson's a +1 is a 6. But you can only go as high as 5. You cannot have double play. You cannot have a double play rating of 6 because there's still a possibility the ball wasn't hit hard enough. Now, it is a hit and run, however. So it's a 6. But because it's a hit and run, all double play ratings get a -2, so that becomes a 4. So in this case, it still could be a double play. So you roll a D6. So 1 to 4, this is still a double. This is a double play. It's a 3, and it is. So even though the hit and run was on, Frank Robinson hit it so hard right to Boswell, who threw right to Harrelson and back to first and still got the double play, and the inning is over. So 6-4-3 double play, so no runs and a hit. And we are at the 7th inning stretch. We are at the 7th inning stretch. Singh, take me out to the ball game. I'll be right back, guys. I want to thank all of you for joining me for this demo game to officially launch the 1969 replay on RJL Network for Inside Pitch. Our first game will be, our opening day will be next Monday night, July 1st, 2024. It will be April 7th, 1969. We will have opening day, and we will be at historic Crosley Field as the Los Angeles Dodgers will take on the Cincinnati Reds. Don Drysdale will be going for the Dodgers, and Gary Nolan will be pitching for the Reds. That is our first game of the 1969 season. So I know you Reds fans and all you Dodger fans or all you baseball fans will not miss opening day for the 1969 season. It will be the Dodgers and the Reds at Crosley Field. That will be Monday night, July 1 at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. As usually, games like that, I start at 8. For those of you who want to catch my games, 7:30 is where I like to start the games, and that is Monday through Saturday. Sunday, I play games at about 11 o'clock in the morning for Sunday morning baseball. That's for you guys that would like to catch these. Okay, so and you'll see how a full regular season games goes. So opening day is next Monday, July 1. Dodgers and Reds. Drysdale against Nolan at Crosley Field. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning here in this demo game, 3-1 O's. And leading off for the Mets is going to be Bud Harrelson. He's 0 for 2. So now let's see if we can speed up the game a little bit, because I know some of you guys want to get back to your lives, which I totally understand. Palmer, 5-6, range play. Bud Harrelson. 1-5, that's an F8, fly out to center field. Paul Blair, his range is a 4. We roll, and that's a 1. He makes the catch, and that's out number 1. So a fly out to center as Paul Blair goes ahead and makes the catch. Next batter is Jerry Grody. And by the way, Seaver was tired. Grody is 0 for 2. He struck out twice. Palmer, 4-6. That's an S1 in parentheses, but he would be tired. He is not tired. Palmer is not tired, so that is a blank. Grody, 5-4. And Grody has a D7. D7, and that's a double to left field. So Grody has a double, and he will hold at second base. That'll bring up Garrett. Infield is back. Strategy rolls are still on. 3 minus 1 is 2. It's still under 10. So strategy rolls would still be on. Nothing happening on the 6. Grody staying at second base. So Palmer will pitch. Palmer, 2-3. That's an ET question mark. That's an error on a throw. We then check Wayne. We then roll for Garrett. That's a 1-6. And a 1-6 is a star 1. And against on Palmer's card, a 1 is a fly ball to left field. That's going to be an out. That's out number 2. There's not going to be a throwing error because Grody, his base running rating is a 2. But automatically, a fly out to left field is a -3 modification, which takes him to -1. He is not going to try to go to third. There would not be a throwing error. So that's going to be out number 2. And that's going to be it for Tom Seaver. Tom Seaver is actually tired. Seaver is the next batter. They're going to take him out. The Mets are going to go to the bench. And they're going to go ahead and bring up they are going to go with Ron Swoboda. So Ron Swoboda will come on and pinch hit for Tom Seaver. We'll see a new pitcher for the Mets with 2 outs here. So we roll a strategy roll. Nothing on the 8. Palmer will go ahead and pitch. Palmer, 1-6. That is a blank. Swoboda, 4-2. That's a star 6. That's an automatic out, star 6. And on Palmer, it's a fly out to center field. The inning is over. No runs and a hit for the Mets. We played 7. It's 3-1 Orioles in this demo game. So for those of you, like I said, who are on the fence about picking up a copy of this game, you can see, all right, that it flows very smoothly as soon as you get the rules down pat. We go to the top of the 8th. 3-1 Orioles. Leading off for the O's is going to be Boog Powell. He will bat. A lefty and 2 righties coming up. So we'll bring on a new pitcher for the Mets, and that is going to be, let's see. Coming on to pitch for the Mets is going to be Ron Taylor. We'll go ahead with it. We'll bring him out there. Ron Taylor will go ahead and pitch for the Mets here. Now, Taylor can pitch to 5 batters before fatigue, and he can give up. And if you want to use the pull rating, he can give up a combination of 2 hits, walks, or runs. So Boog Powell will lead off, and let's see how the Orioles do here on the top of the 8th. 1-2, and it's a split chance. Against the lefty, it's a blank. Against the righty, it's an automatic out. Powell happens to be a lefty, so that's not so that's going to be a blank. So Powell gets the swing, 6-2, and a 6-2 on his card is a G6. That's a ground out to short. Next batter is the vacuum cleaner, Taylor, 6-4. Now we have a home run question mark. A home run question mark means it's a possibility he put the ball in the wheelhouse. Then you go to this section right here. A 1-8 against righties or a 1-13 against lefties. Robinson is a righty. So a 1-8, this is a possible home run chance. It's a 19. It doesn't happen, so it's treated as a blank, and you go to the batter card. 3-6, and Brooks Robinson's a G5, and he grounds out to third. Now the batter is Davy Johnson. Taylor, 2-4. 2-4 is a K, strikeout chance against the righty. Johnson's a 5, +3 is an 8. That's a 13 too high. Johnson, 3-1, and he hits a double to left field, so it's a 2-out double to left. He keeps the inning going. It'll bring up Belanger. Belanger is 0 for 2, reached on an error and got hit by a pitch. Strategy rolls are still good. 3 minus 1 is 2, plus 8 is 10. It has to be higher than 10 if you want to continue to use it. So we still use a strat, and that is a 2. Davy Johnson has an attempt rating of 1, -1 is 0, not happening. So he will stay at second base. Ron Taylor will pitch. 6-4, and again, the home run question mark. Belanger is a righty. Against a righty, a 1-8 is a possible home run. That's a 1. He put it over the wheelhouse. Now, Belanger against a righty needs a 2 or lower. He only hit 2 home runs. So you re-roll the D20. A 1 or a 2, this is gone. Nope, it's a 4. He got under it. But it doesn't mean it's a fly out. He still swings the bat. So he does not get a home run. A 3-2. And instead he gets over it. It's a ground ball to second base. And they'll throw out at first. And that will end the inning. So no runs and a hit for the Orioles. And it stays 3-1. So pretty much it was a bad pitch by Taylor, but Belanger just got over it, didn't get a good bad enough wood on it, and just ground it out. So now we go to the bottom of the 8th. Palmer can pitch to 3 more batters before he tires. He's going to pitch. Why not? This is 1969, not 2024. So leading off the Mets is going to be Tommy Agee, and he's 0 for 3. So 3-1 Orioles now, bottom of the 8th. Let's speed up things a little bit. Palmer, 4-4, strikeout 11. That's good enough. That's going to be, I call that a called strike 3 when it's on the numbers or due to ballpark. That's an 11. That's an 11 there. I call that a called strike 3, and he is out of there. That is the 6th strikeout for Palmer. 1 out. Does anybody have any questions as we move through the game a little faster here? Here comes Boswell. Boswell is 2 for 3, a single, a double, and a stolen base. Palmer, 4-1, wild pitch, ball 1, since there's nobody on base. Palmer again. Palmer, 4-2, that's a walk, that's a 6. Against the righty, Boswell's an 11, no adjustment, and he will walk Boswell. So Boswell is on base for the 3rd time. That's the 2nd walk issued by Palmer. Here comes Jones. Jones is 2 for 3. He's got a single and a double. Infield is going to go to double play depth. Strategy rolls are still on. That's an 18. Jones has a bunt rating of 1. It's not happening. He's going to swing away. So Palmer will pitch. 4-2. Again with the walk chance. Against the righty, Jones is a 14. No adjustment from the ballpark. The 17 is too high. Jones swings. That's a 5-6. And that's going to be a ground ball to third base. Possible double play. So now we check the double play. His double play rating is a 1. Nothing from Palmer, so it stays a 1. Add 1 to the double play rating here, which makes it a 2. Shortstop for the Orioles is Mark Belanger. +1 pivot rating is a 3. So a 1 to 3, this is a double play. That's a 5. This is going to be a fielder's choice. Now, where a 5 means there's no double play, but this is where you got to check to see what happens. Okay? You check the base running rating of the runner that's being held. Ken Boswell's base running rating is a 4, but they're at double play depth. When they're at double play depth, that means the runner on first is being held. So you subtract 1 from the base running rating, this becomes a 3. That was a 5. If that was a 3 or less, Boswell would have made it to second base and the throw goes to first. But since it's higher than the adjusted base running rating, he is out at second on a fielder's choice, but Jones gets to first base. On a 6, all runners advance. The only play was to first. So there are now 2 outs on the fielder's choice. Now the batter is Shamsky. Now Palmer is tired. I like putting a red pawn on the pitcher to remind me he is tired. So now if a parentheses result occurs, okay, the pitcher I automatically remove the pitcher. But since this is 1969, I think they would let Palmer try to complete the inning. He is also due to bat second in the 9th. So Jim Palmer, they're going to keep him out there. So we roll a strat, and that's a 3. Cleon Jones does have a steal attempt here. It's a 3 and a 0. He would normally get the steal rating. This is where I said, now if you play the rules hard and fast, he would try to steal second. You're not going to do that here. I'm going to call off the steal because Shamsky's got good home run power and he's got a good average, and you don't want to get run yourself out of the inning. So I'll call that off. So now you go ahead and you roll off the pitcher card. Palmer, 4-4, strikeout against the righties. Shamsky's a 5, +3 is an 8. That's a 13. It's too high. Shamsky, 2-6, and that's going to be an automatic out. A star line 2. You go to Palmer's card. It's a F8. That's a fly out to center, and the inning is over. Nothing across except a walk. 3-1 Orioles after 8. We go to the top of the 9th. Orioles holding on to a 3-1 lead. Ron Taylor can pitch to one more batter before he tires. I'm going to let him pitch. And leading off for the Orioles is going to be Ellie Hendricks. So Ron Taylor is going to keep him out. I'm going to keep him on the pitch. Might as well. With a 2.72 ERA, it kind of makes sense. So top of the ninth inning, 3-1 Orioles. Let's see what happens here. So Taylor, a 5-6, and it's a split chance. Against the lefty, it's a blank. Against the righty, it's a walk. Hendricks is a lefty, and that becomes a blank, so Hendricks will swing. That's a 6-3, and Hendricks is an F9, and that's a fly out to right. 1 out. Palmer's the next batter, but I'm going to go ahead and bring in their closer. So Jim Palmer is tired. They're not going to let him complete the game. And the Orioles are going to go to the bench. And it is the ninth inning, so I usually can bring in anybody I want. And we're going to go ahead and bring out Kurt Motton. He had a 3.03 average, 6 homers, 21 RBIs. My rule is basic. My rule of playing regular season baseball, if it's not the ninth inning, I usually go by the if I choose a bench player, it's usually the bench player with the most at bats that's on the bench. But in the ninth inning, I couldn't bring in anybody you want. So we'll have Kurt Motton go up against Taylor. Taylor is now tired, but let's see if he can go ahead and get it done. So Taylor, 6'5", that's a range play. Kurt Motton, 3-6, it's a G5, that's a ground ball to third. That ball is Wayne Garrett. His range is a 1. Can't get it. And that's a 5 and a 6. That's going to be a double for Kurt Motton. So Motton gets up there, and he hits a pinch hit double for the Orioles. Now the top of the order in Don Buford. Since Taylor is tired, I will now take him out because an S1 will automatically bring a runner in from second. So the Mets are going to go ahead and bring in a new pitcher. And they're going to go with... They are going to go with Cal Kuntz. 6-3, 7 saves, a 4.99 ERA. Cal Kuntz will go ahead and pitch to Buford. And they may go ahead and walk. You want to walk him or pitch? Actually, I think you probably pitch to him. So runner on second base. This is how fast these regular season games can go if you watch them. So strategy rolls are now off because now it's 3 minus 1 is 2 plus 9 is 11. So now you do not roll a strat. You don't have to roll a strategy roll anymore, which I don't. So it's now pitcher versus batter. So Kuntz, 6-1, range play. Buford, 1-2. F9, fly ball to right. Wow, they're hitting him to the players that they should have. We don't need him to. Fly ball to right field. Art Shamsky's range is a 1. He won't get that. And that's going to be a double for Don Buford. So Kurt Motton will automatically come in to score. Don Buford does get a double. He'll run up at second base, and the Orioles get some insurance here on the top of the ninth. It's 4-1. Stadium groans, as well as Section 518. So Don Buford now at second base. The batter now is Blair, and still 1 out here on the top of the ninth. 4-1 O's now. Blair is 0 for 4. So again, strategy rolls are off. So Kuntz, 5-3. That's at the park. Shea Stadium, 2-2. That's a G6. It's a ground ball to short. Now, on a ground ball with a runner on second base, okay, and grounders to short, on ground ball, you got to still roll to see if the runner on second go to third. It's a ground ball to short, so somebody is out. Don Buford's base running rating is a 4. The question is, does the throw goes to first? Does Buford go to third? Does Buford go to third base? His base, you have to roll it equal to or under his base running rating. So a 4 or lower on a grounder to short, he gets the third. He does. So Buford does get to third base. If it was a ground ball to third base and a runner on second, the only way he moves to third is on a 6. But Blair grounds out to short. There are now 2 outs. And now Frank Robinson with 2 outs. Runner on third. No strategy rolls as well. Cal Kuntz. That's a 3-1. That's a walk. 19 is going to be too high. Robinson, 6-2. And against a righty, that's going to be a fly out to right field, and the inning will end there. So 1 run on 2 hits for the Orioles. They have a 4-1 lead as we go to the bottom of the 9th. But as I always say every game, will there be some 9th inning magic? Ed Kranepool will lead off for the Mets. Orioles need a pitcher. And they are going to bring in their closer. And their closer in 69 was Eddie Watt. 5-2, 16 saves, a 1.65 ERA. So Eddie Watt is the Baltimore closer for this 1969 demo game. For those of you who stood there this entire 2.5 hours, thank you very much. Trust me, hopefully we won't have any more games like this, but you never know when we play regular season games. So 4-1 Orioles. Eddie Watt will pitch. Kranepool will bat. 6-2. That's a hit by pitch. The 11 is too high. Kranepool. 3-1. That's a P4. That's a pop out to second base, and there's 1 out. Here's Harrelson. Harrelson is 0 for 3. 1-6. Walk chance. The 17 is going to be too high. Harrelson. 1-5. That's a F8. That's a fly out to center field. 2 outs. Last chance for the Mets is going to be Jerry Grody. Watt. 5-3. That's at the park. Shea Stadium. 5-6. And that is a fly ball to center field. Coming under that is Paul Blair. He takes a couple of steps to his right, puts out his glove, blop, and the ball goes into it. That's your game. The Baltimore Orioles will win this exciting 1969 demo game. They beat my Mets 4-1. I do not get a happy recap. I'll give you guys a final line score here coming right up. For the Orioles, 4 runs, 9 hits, and 1 error. For the Mets, 1 run, 6 hits, and 1 error. The winning pitcher, of course, is Jim Palmer. He'll get the win. Tom Seaver will take the loss. And Eddie Watt will get the save since the tying run was in the hole. That's my rule. So he will wind up with a save there. So that is your 1969 demo game. I hope you guys totally enjoyed it. I hope you did. And I hope you learned how to play the game a little bit easier and a little better. Does anybody have any questions before I sign off? Does anybody have any questions? I know Ben Witz, I know you were really looking to maybe look at the game and give it a try. I really think you should. Right now, I think Chris is taking a vacation. He won't be back till July 1st. And I do recommend ordering printed seasons. They're nice, and you don't have to worry about cutting. I know you were thinking about getting looking at this game. I think you should get your favorite, choose a season that you want to play, and give it a shot. He has every season from 1956 to 2023, minus 4 seasons in the 2000s, which he is going to do to complete his chronology to fill any holes. So, does anybody here have any questions at all before I sign off? Going once? Going twice? I'll say the answer is no. Our next matchup will be July 1st, 2024, Monday night, 8 o'clock. The 1969 season will be on the air. It'll be opening day. The Los Angeles Dodgers take on the Cincinnati Reds from historic Crosley Field. Don Drysdale will be going for the Dodgers, and Gary Nolan will be going for the Reds. The 1969 season is around the corner. It is time to begin the second replay of this year. Who knows what will happen? 1969 should be great. I can't wait to start it, and this should be a lot of fun. So don't miss Monday night, next Monday night, Dodgers, Reds, Drysdale, and Nolan. Be there or be square. Philip Reynolds, Ben Witz, DB, Scooney 007, Baseball with the Demos, Phoenix Knight, Jimmy Jam, Clee Baseball Fan, Doug Hunt, and Philip Reynolds, Tracy Meehan, and Luca Pine, Jeremy Brooks. Thank you all for joining me today. Please leave a like on your way out to the turnstiles. Subscribe if you've not done so, and make sure you hit the bell. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay smart, stay strong. We'll see you guys next Monday night. The Orioles beat the Mets in the demo game, 4-1. We'll see you guys in the next Monday night. Have a good one.